What are you laughing
Who
at?
sings that one again?
Hey, Soul Sister, but you're
Who
king of
sings it?
content.
No, but who sings that song again?
Hey, Soul Sister, you're
No,
king
that's,
of...
Hey Soul Sister's the name of the song. Who sings
All
it?
right, Train.
Ah,
Choo Choo Train. Christmas Train.
Christmas Train.
Holidays are coming. is that a train, is it? No, I don't know.
Oh, no, it's a lorry, isn't it? There was an advert with a train
big truck.
in it.
It's a big truck.
Yeah, but there was a train as well at one point. But no, it's
The train's nice. It's nice and Christmas, isn't it? Holidays
don't
are
mention
coming.
trains up here, son.
Greg Hughes is coming. King of content. The king of content, you know, Greg, me and him was having the crack, right? He says, Greg says to me, he says, you know what to call me? And I says,
This is, can I just say this
go
is,
on ahead.
It's completely untrue what you're saying.
I know what you're saying, right? But
I never said
just
that.
telling the conversations that we have off the
But
microphone.
I do them accurately.
No, so I says, you all sat there and the headphones are leveled. Anything else I can do for you? This is what I said to you, wasn't it? Yeah. And he says, no, I'm all good. And you says, you sitting back, all ready for you. He says, you do know what they call me?
No.
And I had, no, you said that to me. No, don't tell me.
What I said to you is, you said, right, you're all set that now. And I says, yes. But what we have to focus on now is good content.
Look.
And you said,
no, listen, Caroline's giving me
and
the
you
thumbs up.
said to me, that's why they call you the king of content. That's exactly how the conversation went.
Well, you're probably half correct there. But see, we're only as good as the people behind us, as you know, and there's Caroline in there. I called her the wise owl yesterday.
I know she was not happy about that.
I wasn't happy with that, and you know, but then I said she was good looking as well. So
have a issue with your mouth being slightly ahead of your brain.
Well,
and that's why we love you, don't get me wrong, but you tend to speak before you think, Lee.
Yes. Sorry, king of content. All right, I'll not mention that again.
What did you call Caroline yesterday?
See, it was just on the.
What did you call her?
It was
again
on the hoof. We
yesterday?
had about 60 seconds to do this.
Yeah.
And then I says here's Michaela, the good looking one. And then I came across Caroline. Then I said, here's the wise owl. And I think, God, that's not right. So I says, good looking one in there too. Yeah. But then when I look back, it wasn't nice.
Then you nearly destroyed Shannon's phone.
I know
it was not a great morning for you, was it?
No, but I feel more sorry for
the phone.
The phone, yeah. But
okay.
I had it out with Shannon. She's all right now, I think.
She's grand. All right, then, that's it.
Have a good morning now, King.
Take care of you.
Good luck.
Take care of you. Hey, we've a merch section on the outlet now.
Are you selling t-shirts? Yeah. I love the king of content. Good luck.
You're an agent. Okay, it is a 9:minute now. Let's get the news update. It's over to Michaela Clark.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. The Taoiseach has again raised the killing of Donegal man Michael Leonard with the Northern Ireland Secretary of State. The 24-year-old was shot dead in 1973 by the RUC near the Donegal-Fermanagh border. In response to a parliamentary question from Donegal Deputy Pearse Doherty, it was confirmed that Micheál Martin has raised the case on a number of occasions and highlighted also that the Leonard's family's efforts to secure a fresh inquest into his death would be thwarted by the UK Legacy Act. Deputy Doherty says after over 50 years, the family deserve answers.
There is new information in relation to the personnel who shot Michael Leonard, and it looks as if it was very deliberate. Therefore, there are demands from the family in terms of a new inquest, in terms of criminal prosecution, and also for the Irish government to continue to press this with the British government. And I think it's crucially important that this family, like so many other families, have truth and justice, and that the Irish government continue to pursue this.
The Justice Minister says a vote of no confidence in her is a distraction. The Dáil is set to debate the motion later following the riots in Dublin. Sinn Féin has tabled the motion, but the government is set to comfortably defeat it. Speaking on her way into Cabinet, Minister Helen McEntee says it's a waste of time.
Look, I'm confident I have the support of colleagues. I really think that this is a distraction from the huge amount of work that needs to be done. And as you'll see from Cabinet today, I'm getting on with my work and there's a huge amount to be done, yeah.
Donegal County Council is looking at implementing a 30 km/h speed limit outside all schools in the county with a number of exceptions. The issue has been raised by Councillor Barry Sweeney at a plenary meeting of the council and also at the Donegal Joint Policing Committee. Officials said a national review finished in September with a similar recommendation is expected to be implemented within 2 years. Councillor Sweeney says Wicklow County Council have already acted and he believes Donegal should follow suit.
I want to see this reduction of speed limits to 30 km/h outside all Donegal schools. There are some schools where this may not be possible. If you take examples like Lurgy School, where it's a 100 km speed limit outside the school at the moment, to reduce that to 30 kilometres would probably have additional consequences, maybe safety consequences that would be unintended. In those circumstances, the way the National Steering Group are looking at it would be reduced to about 50 km/h rather than the 30.
Weather now, isolated pockets of fog and freezing fog gradually clearing to leave a mainly dry, bright day with spells of sunshine. Cold with highest temperatures of 3 to 6 degrees. That's all from Highland Radio News for now. We'll be back with news again at 10 o'clock. Until then, good morning.
Betty Morgan talks about her son.
Eamon was one of life's givers. When he had a sudden brain hemorrhage and sadly died, his organ donation helped 2 people transform their lives. It's consoled us so often. Eamon was a giver in life, and to now he's a giver of life.
Organ donors save lives. Make today the day you decide to be an organ donor and let your family know your wishes. For more, visit hse.ie/organ donation from the HSE.
The county's #1 talk show, The 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio. And now it's time for the talk of the Northwest, The 9 to Noon Show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
And a good morning to you. It is 9:05 on this Tuesday, the 5th of December 2023. How are you all keeping? Thank you very much for choosing the 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio this cold morning. But enjoy the calm, I suppose, because it's going to get windy and rainy and all different types of weather coming for the rest of this week and into the weekend. So we'll enjoy this cold spell for now, will we? Although it'll be glad maybe not to have to use the heating quite as much if it does warm up a little bit. But anyway, we'll worry about the show for the next 3 hours. 086 60 25,000. The WhatsApp and text lines are open for you now. Just to remind you, if you want to, and maybe it might suit you better to send a voice message, you can WhatsApp that to 086 60 25,000. And the phone lines are open for you as well. Caroline, of course, and Shannon on the lines 07491 25,000. And feel free to comment across our social media. Good morning to you, Dolores. Good morning to you, Marie. They're watching the show on Facebook, Highland Hub, Highland Radio News and Sport, and you can watch on YouTube too, on your big screen through your smart TV, Highland Radio Ireland, or on your Fire Stick as well, where that YouTube app lives, or the Chromecast with built-in Google TV, which is my preference, to be honest with you. It's better than the Fire Stick, I think. But anyway, on to the Donegal Democrat this morning. We're looking at the front of the papers and inside some of them as well. A county councillor has called for more speed vans to be located on the Bundoran-Ballyshannon bypass. Bundoran-based Sinn Féin councillor Michael McMahon raised the issue at a meeting of the Donegal Joint Policing Committee on Friday in Lifford. I often wonder why speed vans are not out in the middle of the night, councillor McMahon said. They're not out at times where speeding is really going on. Is there any way that we could get the speed vans on the bypass? This is cause for concern. Councillor McMahon also highlighted issues with cars speeding in car parks in Bundoran town. On to the Nationals this morning. As you heard in the news there is a confidence motion in Helen McEntee today, which is set to be easily passed. Justice Minister Helen McEntee will comfortably survive in a Dáil confidence vote today after independents weighed in against pre-Christmas instability. The government will have a majority of at least a dozen votes in today's showdown. A motion of no confidence has been switched for a coalition motion expressing confidence in her, which is what happens. Chief Whip Hildegard Naughton said she was confident the government would win after independents brought the argument that now was not the time for political upheaval after the Dublin riots. The backers include former government party member Mark McSharry, Peter Fitzpatrick, Dennis Naughton, Joe McHugh, along with ex-Fine Gael Minister Michael Lowry. So both local, in inverted commas, TDs, Mark McSharry and Joe McHugh, will be backing Helen McEntee. Cathal Barry, Noel Grealish and Sean Canny are also prepared to vote confidence, which could take government support to 88 votes after Green Party leader Eamon Ryan, who's in Dubai, was earlier paired with Social Democrats TD Jennifer Whitmore in a voting arrangement, which put to bed the notion that you couldn't pair on a confidence motion. But anyway, a lot of you, I presume, watched the RTE show last night, primetime show about planning, and it didn't really come as a surprise to me as such. I mean, the contents of it did, but I used to have quite, not an obsession, but an interest in planning applications. And I would go through the websites on a weekly basis, and I was always surprised at the amount of people from outside an area that took an interest in planning applications in Donegal. And I'm not on about roads or major pieces of infrastructure or wind farms. I'm on about like houses, and things like that. There you'd see people objecting from all over the country, like 5 or 6 objections from far-flung counties, and they didn't seem to have any particular connection with the area in question. So it doesn't really surprise me that this is a system that is open to use and abuse. But 2 brothers filing environmental planning appeals against housing developments have been withdrawing them for financial gain. An RTE Investigates programme has claimed. The report, focusing on the activities of Micheál and John Callaghan, has brought attention to a planning process in which such appeals are possible but delay construction and housing delivery. It outlines several cases in which they filed objections, but during secretly filmed meetings with the developers sought proposals that might encourage them to change course. The Callaghans filed appeals under the name of an environmental group in one documented case called on Locht Infanave, I believe. No, it's not. I can't actually read that word. I definitely need to start wearing my glasses or getting glasses to read these papers. But anyway, the 2 have, according to the programme, which aired last night, objected to residential and commercial developments countrywide. There are no claims or suggestions of illegality. In a one-line statement to the programme, John Callaghan said, "Please be aware that neither of the parties referred to in your letters has done anything unlawful," which is perhaps the case, but it certainly has exposed, the programme has exposed complications in the planning system, especially when you see the measures that are adopted that lead to these type of objections being withdrawn or fading away or falling away, however you wish to term it. On to the Irish Daily Mail now, and the Tánaiste has said he's very concerned for the welfare of asylum seekers who will have to sleep in tents and sleeping bags in freezing conditions after the state's accommodation supply has simply dried up. The Department of Integration, which has responsibility for accommodating refugees and asylum seekers, confirmed yesterday that despite intensive efforts, they can no longer provide accommodation to all asylum seekers arriving here due to a severe shortage in housing options. Women and children are being prioritised for state accommodation, but those who are arriving here seeking asylum will now be directed to drop-in homeless day services where they will be given tents and sleeping bags. The Irish Daily Mail also understands that arrivals will not be advised about areas where it's safe for them to erect their tents, and they will also receive a welfare rate of €75 for asylum seekers who are not housed in state accommodation. Asylum seekers currently receive €38.80 per adult, €29.80 per child weekly, along with medical cards. So on top of the €38.80, they'll get the medical card and the €75, but no house. It's understood there are no contingency plans to house rough sleeping asylum seekers. But at what point do we have a moral responsibility to very clearly advise people who perhaps have alternatives or other places that they possibly could go, to say that if you come here, you get a tent and a sleeping bag? This is sort of almost operating outside the broader conversation about immigration. Is it morally correct to just have them land here? I mean, surely they should be warned on the other side or deterred on the other side to say, look, we only have a tent and a sleeping bag here. Maybe there are other countries that might be able to provide better services. Would that be a more humane thing to do? The Irish Daily Star today, Gardaí is set to quiz the chief suspect for the Dublin creche knife attack after he woke from a coma. The Star confirmed the suspect has now been moved out of intensive care unit of a Dublin hospital almost 2 weeks after the attack that shocked the nation. The paper have established that the 49-year-old Algerian-born Irish citizen is now in the hospital's high dependency unit, one level down in severity from ICU. Sources told the paper that the suspect is awake and breathing by himself, but is not yet medically fit to be questioned by detectives from Mountjoy Garda Station, probing the horror knife attack on the creche at Gaelscoil Clastamura on Dublin's Parnell Square East on November 23, I beg your pardon. But they indicated Gardaí hope to be able to arrest and question the suspect by as early as the end of this week. It's a major boost for the investigation, as there had been fears that the suspect's injuries, sustained after he was pulled to the ground by shocked bystanders as he attacked 3 children and a creche worker, Leanne Flynn Keogh, was so serious that he might never be fit to be questioned. The suspect was placed in an induced coma shortly after he was rushed to the hospital, but his condition has now improved dramatically and Gardaí will soon be able to quiz him, which counters what some people were saying, that it was part of a big cover-up and he would never wake up to be questioned or charged. And also, too, unfortunately, the parents of the gravely ill young girl have been forced to make a statement to say that she is gravely ill, but she is still with us, and that they hope and pray that she will overcome what she's going through at the moment, which, again, that's directly from the family itself. Contradicts a lot of videos that seemed to go up over the weekend, which must have hurt the family, which stated that the girl was clinically dead and was being kept alive by the government and the Gardaí and all this type of stuff. And it forced the family to come out and say that, no, the girl is still with us and still receiving treatment, though they don't know how that's going to go because her injuries are so severe. But that is the world we live in now, that people speculate about the well-being of a tiny wee 5-year-old fighting for her life. Anyway, the Irish Daily Mirror this morning: more than 1 million children have nowhere to go amid the Israeli onslaught on Gaza. As the Israeli Defense Forces stepped up its attack, Save the Children blasted its order for Palestinians to move again from an area in southern Gaza. Now, what the Israelis are doing at the moment is they issued a grid, effectively, and a QR code that's supposedly Palestinian people, the regular citizens, they can access this information and move to where the bombs are going to drop. But there's no mobile coverage there at all. They've no way of accessing it and no way of moving either. They've been corralled into the south of Gaza at the moment. So they are really effectively sitting ducks. But it comes as the IDF presented what it claims is new evidence of Hamas plans for the October 7th rampage. It claims gunmen were urged to perform atrocities, according to the IDF. One Hamas commander's written orders found on a fighter said, "This enemy of yours is an illness that has no cure except for beheading and removal of the hearts and livers," which was an awful, awful situation as well. Horrendous. It's terrible what those children are going through over there. On to the Irish Sun now. This is the other side of it. Families are to get an early Christmas present today with a double child benefit bonus being paid into accounts, which shows, how different people live in different parts of the world. The extra cash for social welfare recipients was allocated in the budget to help with the cost of living. It means those who qualify will get €280 per child into their accounts this morning. Heather Humphreys, Minister for Social Protection, announced the pay date yesterday and said, "I'm very conscious of the pressure families are under, particularly in the run-up to Christmas. So if you are in receipt of the children's allowance, that payment should be doubled for you this morning. So double check your account to make sure that money might come in very handy for many of you out there. All right, we'll be back with more after we take a quick break.
The newspapers are courtesy of Kelly Centra Mountaintop Letterkenny, the 2022 C-Store National Off-Licence of the Year.
9 till Noon Show, sponsored by Evolve Clothing. Merry Christmas to all our customers and thanks for all your support every year. In store at Letterkenny Retail Park or online at evolveclothing.com.
The move to electric is on, with Kia powering ahead in electric vehicle technology. Take the stylish Kia Niro EV, the multi-award-winning EV6, or the all-new EV9 with space for up to 7 people. Order your 241 model now to avail of flexible finance options, a free home charger, and a €500 super value gift card. T's and C's apply.
Visit Hearn Auto, Donegal Town for your 241 Kia.
Do you need help to make a healthcare complaint? Contact the Patient Advocacy Service. We are free, independent and confidential. We can support you through the complaints process for public acute hospitals and nursing homes across Ireland. Call us on 0818 293 003 or visit patientadvocacyservice.ie.
Nutrius Super Beef Gold ATP and Nutrius Max Maize Mix are now on offer at your local Homeland. Buy 10 25 kg bags and get one free, or get €15 off per tonne in bulk. The Nutrius Beef ATP pack enhances animal performance through maximising rumen efficiency. T's and C's apply. Contact your local Homeland or farm commercial specialist today. Visit nutrius.ie for full product details.
I've been looking after Mum for
a good few years now. It's been hard at times. It's been difficult to find time for myself. I've even had to stop work.
You've worked hard caring for others. Now the state pension can work for you. If you've spent 20 years or more caring for a loved one who couldn't care for themselves, you can now use the time spent caring to qualify for a contributory state pension. Terms and conditions apply. Find out more at gov.ie/pension. A Government of Ireland initiative brought to you by the Department of Social Protection.
Highland Radio time checks with Expressway. Travel Route 32 from Letterkenny to Dublin when you book online and travel for less. Expressway, bringing you the time at...
It's just turning 9:20. John McLaughlin is a lorry driver and a director of JML Transport and is with us now. Hi, John.
Hi, Greg. How are you?
Good to have you on the show. Now, we're speaking to you after yesterday. We heard from road safety organisations across Europe expressing concern at a major reform of driving licence being proposed by the European Commission that would allow teenagers to drive heavy goods vehicles. The European Transport Safety Council called for the recommended age for a lorry driving licence in the EU to remain at 21 and the minimum age to drive buses or coaches at 24. And then they went on to cite evidence from Germany and a couple of other European countries where 18 to 21-year-olds can drive HGVs to say that they are disproportionately responsible for collisions. But what say you, John? You're a professional lorry driver. You know the score. Do you think the age for driving a HGV should be dropped?
Yeah. Like, I have met quite a few young drivers. I've had quite a few young drivers. And to be honest with you, I didn't have a problem with them. 95% of the people that would have had employed would have been ex-farmers and farm ladies. And let me tell you, I would know quite a few of them, and they're very responsible drivers and everything else. But I was just listening to the show yesterday. Was it Ellen or Helen?
Yeah, Helen.
I didn't get her name. I think it was Helen.
Oh, you're right there.
Yeah.
It's Helen, yep.
Yeah. Well, she quoted out at 20,600 EU accidents and 1 in 5 of young drivers. But, like, I'll fire a figure at you now, but how can she prove that, or what kind of accidents were there, and how did the accidents happen, and what was the contents of the accident? I don't believe that figure, to be honest with you.
Well, I'll give you the quote. Sorry, it was Ellen. You were correct the first time. She said research in Germany showed that HGV drivers aged 18 to 20 caused a much higher number of collisions, resulting in personal injury compared to all other age groups among lorry drivers. And she said similar data from Finland and Poland showed that teenage truck and bus drivers were proportionately involved in more collisions than drivers of similar vehicles in older age groups. So I don't actually have the facts, but that's her interpretation of those figures.
Right. Well, okay. Well, then let's just hit it in the head. Like, I would say less than 1/8 of them accidents would have happened in Ireland. And again, we're taking responsibility, which we always do. The Irish always be the first at the post to do things. But Germany, there's a real shortage of drivers in Germany at present, and they're probably taking anybody and everybody off the street to put them into lorries. But as Ireland, as an island, and everything that comes into Ireland and anything that goes out of Ireland goes on a truck, and people forget about this. But again, in Ireland, I can guarantee you, I would find it very, very, very hard to believe that there's actually 0.25% of young drivers causing accidents. Whenever you look through the actual...
You say your experience, what you've heard, what you've seen, indicates that older drivers maybe are more likely to be...
Yes.
Like, you gave some examples of seeing people drinking beer while driving on a motorway.
Yeah. I
saw that.
Back and forth, yeah. Wow. Back and forth in England. I actually passed a lorry and there was no driver in the seat. It was over the passenger side getting a can of beer. And, I know that's hard to believe, Greg, but believe it or not, going down the M6 motorway.
You see it all.
And people will know this, what I'm saying. You'll see tracks on the road where the most of the traffic will be on those tracks. And you can literally, and I've done this myself, and I've just held my hand near enough on the steering wheel, and I went for nearly 10 kilometres without touching the steering wheel.
It'll track the tracks.
The tracks kept the truck straight. And I passed, now, whenever you're passing vehicles in England or whatever, you only pass them at 1 mile an hour or so. Now, for the police at the moment I think they have 17 trucks in England at the moment, and they use them to catch people on the phone and legs up on the dash, and I've passed hundreds of people, and I would say there's a good 80 to 90% of them would have been foreign drivers sitting with their legs up on the dash, lying back, and cruise control, and a can of beer in their hand, or on the phone, or something like that. And I totally agree with the police and totally agree with everybody else.
That's crazy.
The whip needs to be cracked with them people. Absolutely crazy.
Is there an argument, though, that really the way to one of the ways to address the lorry driver shortage is not necessarily to widen the age band down, but to pay people better wages? It's a tough old job, and I know margins are tight, but you do hear lorry drivers say that they do tough work, antisocial hours, and they don't make a fortune out of it.
No, well, just to give you an instance, this last 3 to 4 years, my wages would have doubled.
Okay.
From what they were 45 years ago. My wages for lorry drivers, the minimum would be around 550, 600, maximum 1,200. So, it's not the wages.
1,200. How long does it take to get a HGV license? You could have me.
That's what it is.
It's not bad.
I can tell you people is getting £1,700 a week.
Okay.
For 5 days.
Right. That's all right. Stay with me, John. I want to tease it out a bit more with you, but I want to bring Brian in as well. He disagrees. He's concerned at the proposals that would see 18 to 20-year-olds also driving these heavy goods vehicles. Brian, why would you be opposed to this?
Simply by just going by statistics of young male drivers, especially in Donegal, the amount of accidents, the amount of people that have been killed as a result of young male drivers. I certainly wouldn't like to see them behind a heavy goods vehicle. That's just I want to just make a short comment, but not only to criticise young people. But if you go by statistics, especially here in Donegal, I don't think I would like to see them behind a 30 or a 40-ton truck. Definitely not. I wouldn't like to be meeting them, to be honest.
Right. Well, can I answer that?
Yes, John, go ahead.
Yeah, Brian, I don't know, Brian. I don't know your second name or
doesn't matter.
Where you're coming.
Yep.
Yeah, but what it does, Brian, is I have a good inclination of what's happening, but I can go up the road now, Brian, and I'll meet a young boy coming in a tractor, which is 16 years of age, with a provisional licence and a 3-axle slurry tank killer on, which was a 45-foot tanker on the back of an Arctic with a drawbar on it, and that's on behind a tractor driven by a 16-year-old.
But John, are you saying that's a good thing, though?
No, I don't say that's a good thing. This is where I would cross the line. This is where I would draw the line across that. That's not right, but that's what's happening. But Brian's saying there that he wouldn't like 17, 18-year-olds on the road driving the HGV. There is 18, 19-year-olds on the road driving HGVs, and they never had a day's bother. But the context of the accidents, this is what I keep referring to as the context of the accidents.
But I think what Brian's saying, though, I think what Brian's saying, though, isn't, and just to be sensitive to anyone who's lost anyone in any of these collisions, what Brian is saying is, well, capable to speak for himself, that if you look at maybe the profile of the awful loss of life we've seen on our roads, younger people are overrepresented in that, John. We're losing too many young people, and he's pointing to that and saying, would that end up being transferred to the population of heavy goods vehicle drivers?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, okay.
Well, yeah, I know what he's saying, but I would still feel that young drivers, 95% of them is coming from a farming background, just driving lorries, and women. I met a girl there last week there in Letterkenny on a driving school lorry, preparing for her test, and I actually followed her. I didn't actually go follow her, but I happened to be on the same road behind her. Yeah, and actually, I thought she was very good. Actually, not just because she's a woman, but she was very good and very confident on the road and all the rest. And there's a couple of mistakes where this corner was coming up, and I said, right, okay, that's okay, But there.
No bother. All right, Brian, is there anything you want to add there, Brian?
Yeah, unfortunately, most young farmers that I meet on tractors are all on the phone, and I don't mean to criticise them. It just seems to be a habit they've got into, and I just would be a bit concerned. But probably with the proper training, they would be okay. The one thing you can't buy in life is experience, and they would need a lot of experience before they would take to the roads. A lot of training before they would take to the roads, because when you meet those lorries, I mean, my goodness, the speed that some of them are driving at, I wouldn't like every young person behind the wheel.
All right,
That's
Brian.
All,
it's a very fair and balanced point. Very well made, Brian. Thank you very much for joining us. And John, I suppose you get that. Like, I don't think really. Obviously there's a testing system that an 18, 19, 20-year-old would have to pass the same as a 21, 22, 23-year-old. But I thought what was interesting in Ellen's comments is that they are citing the fact that young people are undergoing significant biological and social changes. Brain development is ongoing through that period and not completed well into the 20s. When we get into that argument, I'm not so sure about that, because we're all different, and you could have a 20-year-old much better switched on than a 30-year-old. I don't know if that's...
Yeah, but
that's just interpretation.
You made a very good interpretation yesterday of, like, 17-year-old can go to the army, a 17-year-old can, 18 now for drinking, as far as I know. 17-year-old can get their car license, they can get married, they can have children. So, but yet he can't drive a lorry until he's 21. So who needs education here? And they're out making a decision this week out in Dubai about lorry, and I didn't even know nothing about it. And we never know nothing about it because they make decisions on our behalf, and I think that's wrong. And the same thing too, whenever I brought it up before, but when we cross the border, we have to pay so much a month. We're paying 75 sterling a month there now, on average, for an Arctic when we cross the border. And yet they're looking for money to develop the A5, they're looking for money this and that, and yet the Northern Ireland British foreigners is able to come into Ireland, and they're able to come in free. But this is our government making decisions that we're not entitled to have a say about, which I think is totally wrong.
Yeah. What age do you think you have to be able to fly an airplane?
I'm not going to answer that well, because I did fly one myself, and I owned one.
Oh, so, you did?
Yeah.
That's the wrong
I
person.
didn't die.
Of all the bloody people for me to try and catch out.
I went to a show in Birmingham, and I ended up buying a brand new one, so yeah.
I don't know, between you buying planes and the wages you're paying, John, I need to come in on a partnership with you. You're doing all right, son.
I have another toy there too, and you'll be amazed at it. I'll send you a photograph of it there later on.
What is it? If it's a train?
No, it's a camper I bought there. I went to England and bought it. It's the only one in Europe.
Is it a big one?
Yeah.
Does the sides pop out and all?
It does.
Right, okay, good luck. Happy Christmas.
And you, Greg.
All right, bye-bye. John McLaughlin there.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook, and at highlandradio.com.
9 till Noon Show, sponsored by Evolve Clothing. Merry Christmas to all our customers, and thanks for all your support every year. In store at Letterkenny Retail Park or online at evolveclothing.com.
Merry Yuletide, one and all. At TK Maxx, you can spoil all your loved ones with big brand gifts that are always up to 60% less than the RRP.
I'm going to need a bigger basket.
Fabulous gifts literally everyone will love. From kids' toys, designer jewellery to luxury candles. Big gifts, small prices. In store this Christmas at TK Maxx.
From the luxurious to the sustainable, beautiful Irish-made products that stand the test of time. Find something you love forever at madelocal.ie. Made local, made to last. Supported by Design and Crafts Council Ireland and me, Lyra.
Discover the ultimate experience in the Spa Orchids at the Holyrood Hotel Bundoran with our tranquil Japanese-themed garden, rejuvenating massages, revitalizing facials, luxurious spa baths, pampering body treatments, not forgetting the outdoor hot tub and sauna in our secret garden. Visit on a luxury spa day, pop in for some me time, or buy the perfect present with a gift voucher. Relax and let the Spa Orchids transport you to another world. For more, see holyroodhotel.com.
Is the appearance of your staff important to your business? It's the first point of contact for customers when entering your premises. At C&M Embroidery in Letterkenny, they have a huge range of clothing covering all areas of the workplace. It's widely known that customers warm to and trust employees that present themselves well. Have your company name embroidered or printed on all your work uniforms. Contact C&M Embroidery on 07491 28097 and get your staff looking their best.
Connolly's Volkswagen Letterkenny, your only Volkswagen passenger and commercials dealer for Donegal. Order your 241 Volkswagen today. Get a cheaper quote. We will beat any quote on any new Volkswagen model. T's and C's apply. For more information, call our sales team today on 074 9122 333 or see our full range at connellys.ie.
Give the gift of Redcastle Hotel and Spa to your loved ones this Christmas. Choose from a range of memorable experiences to suit all. Visit our website to view and purchase our gift voucher offers and experiences, including our winter getaway offer from only €125 per couple. For more information, see redcastlehoteldonegal.com.
Now, we're joined on the programme by Karen. Good morning, Karen. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Karen.
Hello.
Sorry, I had the wrong fader up. Good morning to you. And I'm delighted to be speaking to you this morning because you had an awful experience recently. How are you and the family keeping?
We're still in total shock. I know my house is gone, but in the back of my head, I'm thinking I still have a home.
What day did the fire happen?
Sunday night.
Right, Sunday night. So tell us how it unfolded and how you and your husband became aware that there was a fire in the house.
We were in the sitting room watching TV, and the neighbour across the road, which I want to take the opportunity to thank, rang me to see if I was in the house. And I said, yeah. I asked her what was wrong, and was she all right? I said, there's nothing wrong with her, and she says, your house is on fire. And we come out and just seen the blazes at the side of the house.
Could you believe it that you were sitting there in the front room whilst this was going on in another part of the house? It must have been an awful shock.
Oh, unreal. I can't even explain. I don't know what part of me kicked in, but I phoned the fire services straight away. And it just seemed forever for them to come. And I mean, I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity, contacting me to come on and speak here, because it's more for the services and the service that's provided for an event like this that I want to stress more than anything. I'm not here for us. I'm here for everyone in Letterkenny. And because the fire station not being manned, it just seemed forever for them to get to us.
Yeah.
And then when they did eventually arrive, I think, thank God, they might get to my house before it gets any worse. And by talking to people yesterday, it was discovered that the fire, the water part that they needed, which was just directly at my gate, was full of mud. And they couldn't get into it. So
this is, just so people know, these are you'll see them located across roads. These are where they can plug the hoses in and get access to high pressure water. That was blocked effectively, the one outside your house, which obviously the brilliant work that they were doing, that to go, well, what are we going to do now? So were they able to find an alternative source, Karen?
Yeah, they eventually found something else. I mean, I wasn't aware this was going on at the time, and I just could see the fire spreading to the back of my house, and then watching my roof go in flames was just...
Were you shocked with the speed with which the fire spread?
Oh my God, unreal.
How long?
Totally unreal.
How long have you been in the house, Karen?
I'm there 19 years past in October.
Okay. So it's the physical house, but it's the memories and it's everything else that goes along with that. And then you've got this mix of emotions, I'd imagine, in that, you know, your house is gone and you're coming to terms with that. But thankfully, your neighbours had an eye on you and were able to call you, and you were able to escape with your health. It's an awful bag of emotions for you to be dealing with at the moment, Karen.
Yeah, just the thought of if it had happened in the middle of the night, it would have been a total different outcome.
Yeah.
You know, and just what you're saying, losing things and memories in the house and all, it's so funny. What's important when you're standing there watching your whole life going up in flames, you know, it's just funny what you want out, you know. And the main thing I wanted out was my wee dog's ashes.
Your what?
And to someone else, my dog's ashes.
Right, okay.
You know, it's just funny the things you think of, and my mother's porcelain cat, which thank God survived, both of them.
Okay, right. That's it.
The cat's
Also
very
too,
much smoke damaged, but
also too, and we'll talk a little bit more about the reaction and the message you want to get across, because as you say, that's why you've accepted the invite to come on. But there is a little chink of light in this, in that you and your husband have a cat, and you thought the cat had passed away, didn't you?
We didn't know where she was. We couldn't find her.
Mm.
And yesterday, about 4 o'clock, when we were allowed back into our house, the only room that hasn't really been damaged by fire is our sitting room. Funny enough,
yeah.
It's very much water damaged, and you know the water's coming through the roof and things like that there. But we could hear a meow.
Oh, wow.
And under the sofa, there she was.
I'd say you needed that wee lift at that time.
Oh God, I was so delighted to get her back, and I think she was so delighted to see us, because she just stood in my arms and didn't move.
Oh, the wee dote. It'll take her a wee while to recover along with you as well.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, your mum's porcelain cat survived. Unfortunately, though, your dog's ashes weren't able to be recovered, which is sad.
No. We got them as well.
Oh, did you?
They
wow.
were in the sitting room.
Okay. Right.
So thank God. And I mean, as I said, it's funny. I know they're not silly to me, but people might think, you know, they might be silly, but they were important, you know. So we got those. And
exactly. So you, as you say, wanted to thank the fire service and talk about how the fact, I suppose, when the call goes in, their pagers go off, they have to rush to the station, they have to get in the fire truck, then they have to get to your house, then they have to try and get a connection to water, which was complicated by the fact that that access seemed to have been blocked. Yeah. But they found an alternative, and you're full of praise for them, but you're saying, you know, why don't we have an on-site fire service, and why don't we make sure we're cleaning these water access points, I would say, Karen.
Yeah, they're the points I want to stress more at this point. I mean, definitely. I mean, as I said, I don't want to see some other family standing at their front door watching firemen trying to get somewhere for them to do their job. You know, and they were fantastic. I mean, there was 4 different firefighters there, different stations, and they were amazing. They were amazing. I can't thank them enough. So I can't. It's just unfortunate that they had obstacles in their way to carry out their job.
Yeah, and of course too, your community rallied around you too and had their eyes on you and have supported you since.
Oh my God, my heart goes out to each and every one of them that's contacted me. I'm so grateful to everyone that has sent me good wishes and sent their love. And you know, it's amazing. It just shows you that in a world where you think there's no community, how much a community we actually have.
Yeah, when we need them, they're there. That's the thing, Karen.
Yeah.
It's just...
and I mean, I am so grateful to them and even my family, you know, for the support I'm getting from them. And I just want to go ahead to get this opportunity to thank each and every one of them. You know.
And your neighbours and your family too are more than happy that you've got out. Because as you say, and maybe we shouldn't allow ourselves to think, but thankfully it happened when it happened and not in the middle of the night. Yeah.
That's exactly it.
Have you any idea what started the fire at this point, Karen? Or?
We haven't a clue. We don't know. Forensics were in yesterday. We had to wait for them to come. So we just have no word back yet, so we don't know.
Okay.
We don't know what started it.
Well, it's an awful time of the year for this to happen, but I've spoken to people in your position before, and a few months later, they feel much better about it. So it's going to be really tough at this stage, Karen, but hopefully you and himself, with the love of your family and your neighbours, will start to feel better really, really soon, because it's very, 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 very stressful and distressing. So I think you're doing amazing even to be able to speak to us now, but it'll only be upwards and onwards from here.
Yeah, well, as I said, I don't think my head's actually there yet. I mean, I've had about 5 hours sleep in these last 2 nights, and somewhere in the back of my head, I think I still have a house to get into. You know what I mean? I don't think it's actually hit us properly yet. You know, we're going through the motions, but I don't think it's actually hit us properly.
Well, listen, you've done, with all things considered, and in that space, you've done amazing in congratulating the fire service on their work, supporting them in being able to do their work, and thanking the community and your family. So, Karen, you've done fantastic, and I wish you nothing but getting back to where you want to be as soon as possible.
Yeah, come here. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
No problem, Karen.
To get that message out, and just I can't stress enough that maybe we should be rallying around to try and do more for the firefighters and the Letterkenny area and any other area. You know, that maybe we should be putting petitions into councils or something to get something moving here. That no one else has to go through this.
All right, Karen, thank you so much. Best wishes to you, okay?
Okay,
thank you very much indeed. That's Karen there, the victim of a house fire on the Long Lane in Letterkenny, and just wanted to stress the importance of the fire service and to thank people. And, you know, sometimes when we talk about, you know, fires being lit, cars being set on fire, you know, or ghost fires in the summer, and we say at those times, we say, you know, these are using up the fire service resources for when they're really, really needed, you know, and that's a perfect example. That they were there and they were able to get there, but they could have been off somewhere else dealing with some vandalism or something. So it's really important. What we can do is obviously back Karen and what she thinks needs to happen in terms of resourcing the fire service, cleaning those accesses. That's really important, you know. I wonder what's going on there. Is the programme of works and who's responsible to make sure that those access points where they are available, that they are available and they're openable and clear of muck and debris and things like that there, because I think it's a really important one to ensure that they are. But anyway, best wishes to Karen and her husband and the cat and all the family, and I hope, as I say, hopefully emotionally things improve for her and just as soon as possible.
9 till Noon Show, sponsored by Evolve Clothing. 2 floors of men's winter fashions. This Christmas, it has to be Evolve, Letterkenny Retail Park, or online at evolveclothing.com. Open 7 days.
Are you ready for unmissable magic? Are you ready for winter in Dublin? Longer evenings when the city comes to life. Festive fun all through December, with Christmas lights and dazzling sights. Before the countdown begins to New Year's Festival Dublin, the only place to be when the clock strikes midnight. So cap off the year in Dublin, celebrating like never before. Make your plans today at visitdublin.com. Winter in Dublin, it's magic. Brought to you by Fáilte Ireland.
What could be nicer in winter than a warm, cosy fire like this? Well, how about a warm, cosy fire that's good for the environment, good for the country, and good for your pocket? Willow Warm long burning briquettes are 100% carbon neutral, grown and made here in Ireland.
Hey Dermot, throw on another Willow Warm for us on that fire.
Sure, why not? Willow Warm, the brighter, cleaner, greener way to a cosy home this winter. See willowwarm.ie for stockists.
Give the gift of the Alley Theatre this Christmas with their fabulous gift card, the ideal stocking filler for family and friends. Visit alley-theatre.com.
Do you suffer from high cholesterol, menopause symptoms, digestive issues, anxiety, aches and pains, or a lack of energy? The highly trained team at The Natural Way Letterkenny can provide advice on natural remedies for a number of individual health issues. The Natural Way also has its own brand of herbal treatments to help fight fatigue, relieve digestive discomfort, maintain a healthy immune system, and alleviate common menopause symptoms. The Natural Way at Letterkenny Shopping Centre, your one-stop health shop.
And now the Highland Forecast, brought to you by Shop LK. Widespread Christmas shopping this December in Letterkenny. See shoplk.ie or like us on Facebook.
Okay, now, frosty and icy for many to begin with. Frosty and icy, with some isolated pockets of fog and freezing fog. Gradually clearing to leave a mainly dry, bright day with spells of sunshine. It'll remain cloudier along the east coast with some rain for a time this morning and early afternoon. Cold with highest temperatures of 3 to 6 degrees. 086 60 25,000 is the WhatsApp and text number. Now, just to remind you, you can go onto our website and be in with a chance to win a beautiful Skoda Kamiq. It's part of our Christmas car draw, and it runs until Friday the 22nd of December. We'll announce a winner of the car on Friday the 22nd of December. This is a beautiful car. I was looking at it there. It's outside here. It was outside here the day before yesterday, and it is beautiful. It really is. It's worth over €30,000. Now, if you want to be in with a chance to win this car, then you can go onto our website, highlandradio.com. One ticket is €10. You can buy 5 tickets and get one free for €50. If you buy 8 tickets, you get 2 free, so you get 10 for €80. Obviously, if you can afford to do so, and you can gift them out and name them individually. So if you've got 6 people in your family, you can buy them all a ticket if you wish. You can put their names on individually. As I say, the draw will take place on this programme, I think, on the 22nd of December 2023. Get in early because there is likely to be other elements to this draw, and if you're in early, you're in with a chance to be in the draw for whatever may be drawn. Okay, so if you want to take part in that, go onto our website, highlandradio.com. It's really simple. Now, if you for some reason don't want to use the internet, or you can't, that's perfectly fine too. You can give us a call in 07491 25,000 and we will process your tickets over the telephone. And even then, if you want to call in, we'll do it for you as well, because you might just want to use cash, and that's perfectly fine too. That's your prerogative. We'll accommodate you whichever way you want. So you could win that €30,000 plus a beautiful car for a tenner, or as little as €8 too, really, if you want to look at it like that. Right, we are joined on the programme now by Anthony Dugan. He's the treasurer of St. Eugene's Hall Committee in Moville. He's with us right now. Hopefully you can hear me okay. Good morning to you, Eugene. Are you Anthony, I beg your pardon. Good morning. I can't. Oh, the reason I can't hear you is I don't have the fader up. Thanks so much for joining us. Right, okay. 130th year celebrations of St. Eugene's Hall in Moville. What a fantastic milestone to reach. Talk to us a little bit about the history of the hall.
Well, the hall was built as a temperance hall back in late 1800s, about 1885 to 1890. So we're effectively 130 years old. And it's been a temperance hall, but it's also been a snooker club. There's the Montgomery's donated 2 snooker tables to the hall. There's a big open area on the upper floor. It's a 2-story. There's a kitchen available and there's an office available. So it's been the venue for lots of school musicals, lots of dramas, lots of plays are put on there over the years. And post-COVID, there was a danger that we were going to close. So naturally, it closed over COVID, and there was the danger then that the hall would simply remain closed. So last year, we got a committee together, and we decided that we'd make an effort to try and open it up again for the community. And we're celebrating 1 year of this new committee being successful and reopening it, and it's at 130 years old as well.
Yeah, so this is the latest chapter really in its life, and it came into community usage more fully in 2002. Since then, fully refurbished, and as you mentioned, it sounds like it's a fantastic asset to the community for doing all the things you've been outlining.
Yeah, 20 years ago or so, a community group got some money from Peace and the International Fund for Ireland and did a major renovation, and then it was finished off with some leader money. So there was a huge investment in it 20 years ago, and that thankfully is standing good to us today and allowing us to, with relatively little effort, open the hall and get things up and running quite quickly.
And it's already at the moment providing a space for the bingo, of course, Zumba, yoga, I beg your pardon, the plays you've mentioned, bazaars, and also Ukrainian support group. Even with all that usage, though, is it being used as much as it was pre-COVID, or is there still a bit of work, I suppose, to get it back into full use and full sustainability as well?
Yeah, there's still many more opportunities, particularly during the daytime, where we can use it. Obviously, next week we have the Kings of the Kilburn High Road being put on by the local drama group. We'll have the pantomime next January, but there's still a lot of time and a lot of opportunity, and we want to refurbish it and make ourselves a better service for the community through upgrading and, you know, drawing down more grants and upgrading things, but we're also fundraising ourselves.
So how can people help to support this facility? Because it's not just for Muffet, it's Moville and surrounding areas as well.
No, it's for all the different any community group that wants to use our hall, and if we have the right facility for them, we're available for them. They go on Facebook, look up St. Eugene's Hall, Moville, and they can make contact with us and rent the hall. We are also being proactive in terms of putting on a bazaar on December the 10th. We're putting on a community concert, local variety concert on the 15th. And they can come along and support those events so that we can reinvest all the money we make into the hall facilities at that stage.
Yeah, indeed, and that's what it's all about, isn't it? It's about being able to maintain it, pay the bills, and as you say, be in a good position to draw down any lines of funding that might be there. Yeah,
historically, we've had the issue of, you know, the lights still had to be paid for, the water still had to be paid for over COVID. We're a community group. We started off with little or no money, and as the bills from different groups came in, we discovered we were in debt. So we decided we'd run the bazaar again. That was a tradition in Moville at this time of year, and we just want to recognise the 51 sponsors for the 51 prizes. And we also running a 2,500 draw on that night as the big prize draw, and tickets are available locally in advance for that. Also, there's 10 different people or individuals or groups that are performing at our community concert on the 15th. We're about 3/4 of the tickets are already sold, so there's about 50 tickets left, and they're available locally in Gillens or Timber and Duffy's or the post office.
Brilliant. Okay, so support it. It's there. It's a fantastic community facility. Obviously, a brilliant committee has been put in place post-COVID, because you have to kickstart everything again, don't you? It's almost like starting from scratch. So you're doing fantastic work, and I hope you get all the support you deserve, Anthony.
Thank you very much, Greg, and a big shout out to the committee. You're absolutely right on that one.
All right, take care of yourself. Thank you so very much indeed. Okay, delighted to be able to platform that amazing facility there and the work that's ongoing to support and fund it and keep it going as the amazing community facility that it is. 086 60 25,000. WhatsApps and texts to that number. Some of you using it already, of course. I'm a female lorry driver. We're not getting paid enough as female drivers. There aren't many. I work overnight. I was in Enniscrone in Sligo. I'm only back and I'm still awake. We get no break. I haven't slept yet. Night shifters. We're all tired. It's hard going. I put my child to school there. I'll get a quick sleep, collect the child, a bit of dinner, and then I'm off on the road again. I'm not on the €600 wage. Only 3 women drivers, and the men are treated better. It's interesting because the issue of pay disparity and gender pay gaps is raging at the moment, as it always is. And there we have a situation where a female lorry driver says she is not paid, or none of the women that she knows are paid the same as the men drivers. Any insight into that? It's worthwhile talking about, I think. 086 60 25,000. We'll be back with you after the news and obituary notices.
9 till Noon Show, sponsored by Evolve Clothing, Letterkenny Retail Park. Shop Lyle & Scott, Farah, Gant, Tommy Hilfiger, Calvin Klein, and online at evolveclothing.com.
Níl éon rud níos láidre ná an dáibh idir hibblíní, na cóchuimh ní uile sin, na hédaí córínse, ordan córínse, commartas árán orifíse, rudaí idir hibblíní tasat. Go dtí go neir duine agaí gur féidir le go ná éilí ar bith fearas gás a Iesú, agus bristar an dáibh go jo. Bhí mar leag sa gás sin nach rá. Ní rá. Go maith, úsáid sútálaí gáisiún clóirithe I gúnlaí, nó de tá gach rud a chur am mhail. Amsí sútálaí ag rgi.ie.
Give the gift of beauty and rejuvenation this Christmas with the voucher from Genesis Aesthetics and Skincare Clinic Edore. Your loved one can choose from a range of transformative treatments, including PDO thread lifts and skin boosters designed to improve facial contours by lifting and tightening the skin. Also offering fat-dissolving treatments, dermal fillers and laser treatments for all skin concerns. Christmas party hair and makeup packages available. Secure your voucher at Genesis Aesthetics and Skincare Clinic Edore on 07495 325 75.
At iMotors, we have unbeatable offers from Nissan. Call in Monday to Saturday, and if that doesn't suit, join us on the 7th and the 8th of December for our 241 late night opening until 9 p.m. Great 241 offers like 0% finance for our Nissan Leaf, or buy a new 241 and receive a brand new 251 on the Nissan Juke, e-Power Qashqai and the X-Trail with no strings attached. Visit imotors.ie today for more information, or call into our showroom in Drumkeen.
Carrigdon, the ultimate destination store this Christmas. Shop fabulous fashion, jewellery, gifts and home, all at amazing prices at our stunning new store in the heart of Buncrana. Carrigdon, making spirits bright since 1965. See more at carrigdon.com.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, it's 10 o'clock. Donald Kavanagh at the news desk. The Taoiseach has again raised the killing of Donegal man Michael Leonard with the Northern Ireland Secretary of State. The 24-year-old was shot dead in 1973 by the RUC near the Donegal-Fermanagh border in response to a parliamentary question from Deputy Pearse Doherty. It was confirmed that Micheál Martin has raised the case on a number of occasions and highlighted that the Leonard family's efforts to secure a fresh inquest into his death would be thwarted by the new UK Legacy Act. Deputy Doherty says after 50 years, the family deserve answers.
There is new information in relation to the personnel who shot Michael Leonard, and it looks as if it was very deliberate. Therefore, there are demands from the family in terms of a new inquest, in terms of criminal prosecution, and also for the Irish government to continue to press this with the British government. And I think it's crucially important that this family, like so many other families, have truth and justice, and that the Irish government continue to pursue this.
Donegal County Council is looking at implementing a 30km/h speed limit outside all schools in the county, with a number of exceptions. The issue has been raised by Councillor Barry Sweeney both at a plenary meeting of Council and also at the Donegal Joint Policing Committee. Officials said a national review finished in September with a similar recommendation expected to be implemented within 2 years. Councillor Sweeney says Wicklow County Council have already acted, and he believes that Donegal should immediately follow suit.
I want to see this reduction of speed limits to 30km/h outside all Donegal schools. There are some schools where this may not be possible. If you take examples like Lurgy School, where it's a 100km speed limit outside the school at the moment, to reduce that to 30 kilometres would probably have additional consequences, maybe safety consequences that would be unintended. In those circumstances, the way the National Steering Group are looking at it would be reduced to about 50 km/h rather than the 30.
A man was tasered during an aggravated burglary in Derry yesterday afternoon at around 3 o'clock. A number of men forced their way into an apartment in the Marianus Park area. The occupant was assaulted with the taser several times and struck in the neck with a sharp object, causing a gash. His phone and wallet were stolen. The man managed to make his way out of the property and signalled to a passing police car, which stopped and provided assistance. Police are urging anyone who witnessed any suspicious activity in the area at the time to make contact. This Friday, December 8th, is the closing date for a public consultation on Donegal County Council's draft climate action plan. People are being invited to have their say on the plan and also to comment on 2 environmental reports which have been published alongside it. With more, here's Aidan Delaney.
The draft Donegal County Council Climate Action Plan sets out how the local authority will promote a range of mitigation, adaptation and other climate action measures. The council says it wants to play its role in helping to achieve the government's overall national climate objective, which seeks to achieve an environmentally sustainable and climate neutral economy by 2050. Submissions or observations on the draft plan or the accompanying environmental reports will be taken into consideration before the making of the final plan. Submissions on the draft plan must be made by this coming Friday evening, while submissions on the environmental reports must be made by December 21st. That's a Thursday. Copies of the draft plan are available online at County House in Lifford or any of the Council's public services centres. Full details on how to make a submission can be found on our website, highlandradio.com.
The majority of younger people who are diagnosed with cancer in Ireland survive. The latest data from the National Cancer Registry shows how survival rates among 15 to 44-year-olds is 86%. The registry says those over 75 are more likely to be diagnosed with cancer and also have lower survival rates. The director of the National Cancer Registry, Professor Deirdre Murray, says although survival rates are good, there is room for improvement.
Our overall life expectancy is extremely high. In fact, we're at the top of the range in Europe in 2021, and then maybe the Spanish took us over in 2022. So we're up there. We really jumped in terms of overall life expectancy. Our survival is good. We have come up the ranks from where we were, but we have a good way to go. You know, the Danes would have jumped much further than we have. And of course, the Swedes and the Norwegians, they have very long established programs of prevention and screening.
The forecast now, some isolated patches of fog and freezing fog, gradually clearing, leaving a mainly dry day with spells of sunshine, staying very cold. Top temperatures today no higher than 3 to 6 degrees Celsius. At present, temperatures are struggling to go above zero in places. And that's Highland Radio News. We're back with news headlines again at 11 o'clock. Don't forget, by the way, you can check up on all of the latest news on our website, highlandradio.com. But for now, from the news team, have a very good morning.
The obituary notices for this Tuesday morning, December the 5th. The death has occurred of James Woods, The Bridge, Ballymonaster, Ballindrate, Lifford. James's remains will be reposing from 5 o'clock this evening at his brother Gerard's house, Dreenan Stranorlar. Funeral from there on Thursday morning at 10:15, going to St Patrick's Church, Murlock, for funeral mass at 11 o'clock and burial immediately afterwards in the family plot. The death has occurred of Patrick Brennan, 12 Brackenlee, Letterkenny. Remains will repose at his late residence from 4 o'clock this afternoon. Requiem Mass at 12 o'clock tomorrow in St Mary's Church, Fanavolti, Fanad, with burial afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. The death has taken place of Patrick John McLaughlin, Manny, Trena Tubber, Culdaff. Patrick John's remains are reposing at his home, where you're welcome to pay your respects today and tomorrow from 11 o'clock to 10 o'clock. Funeral Mass for Patrick John will take place on Thursday morning at 11 o'clock in St Patrick's Church, Ochaclay, Malin, followed by burial in St Mary's Graveyard, Bogan, Culdaff. Family flowers only, please. Donations, if desired, to the Alzheimer's Society, Carndonagh branch, care of any family member. The death has taken place of Patricia Pat Logue, née Devine, of Blackbraes, Campsie, County Derry, and Kill, Dunfanaghy, County Donegal. Her remains will be reposing at her late residence in Dunfanaghy from 1 o'clock this afternoon. Funeral Mass in Holy Cross Church, Dunfanaghy on Thursday at 12 noon. Burial afterwards in the adjoining graveyard. Mass can be viewed live on mcmmedia.tv. Family time, please, from 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock and on the morning of the funeral. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu, if desired, to the Irish Motor Neuron Disease Association, care of any family member or James Harkin, funeral director. The death has taken place of Marie Denise Barr, Rathgar, Dublin, and formerly St Orns Road, Buncrana, County Donegal. Removal from Fanigan's Funeral Home, Dundrum, on Thursday morning, going to the Church of the Good Shepherd, Churchtown, arriving for funeral mass at 11:30. Mass and burial on Saturday morning at 11 o'clock at St Mary's Chapel, Cockhill, Buncrana. The death has occurred of Sally Gallagher, Main Street, Mount Charles. Her remains will repose at Gallagher's Funeral Home, Station Road, Mount Charles, today from 4 o'clock until 8 o'clock. Removal from there tomorrow morning, going to the Church of the Sacred Heart, Mount Charles, for 11 o'clock funeral mass, with interment afterwards in the adjoining churchyard. Family flowers only, please. The death took place on October the 13th of Ida McDavid, 29 Haywards Road, Haywards Heath, West Sussex, and previously of Letchermore, Drumkeen. A service for Ida will take place in St Patrick's Church, Drumkeen, on Saturday morning at 11 o'clock. The death has taken place of Mary Maureen Sweeney, née Friel, Ladden, Kindrum and Kettering, Northamptonshire, England. Requiem Mass at St Mary's Church, Fanavolti, Fanid at 11 o'clock this morning, with burial afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Funeral can be viewed live on Scott Funeral Director's Facebook page. The death has taken place of Sean Neil Ferry, Knockfull, Gidor. Remains are reposing at his late residence. Funeral Mass this morning in Chap Pobble, Columkill, Knockfulla at 11 o'clock. Interment afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. The funeral Mass can be viewed live on Kieran Rorty Funeral Director's Facebook page. The death has occurred of Paul McGuigan, Karen Namadi, Burt. Paul's remains are reposing at his home. Removal this morning at 10:30 to Lakelands Crematorium, Cavan for 2 o'clock. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to the Foyle Hospice, care of any family member or Murphy Funeral Directors. And the death has occurred of Willie Call, Hillhead, St Johnston, County Donegal. Funeral leaving his late residence this morning at 11:20, going to St Beathan's Church, St Johnston for 12 noon Requiem Mass, with burial afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to the Society of St Vincent de Paul and Medical Ward Patients Comfort Fund, care of Kelly's Funeral Directors. For family information and more details regarding wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
To help with the cost of heating your home during the winter months, the Fuel Allowance Scheme is now available. This allowance is paid at a rate of €33 a week for 28 weeks. To find out more and check your eligibility, visit gov.ie/fuel allowance. The quickest and easiest way to apply is online at mywelfare.ie. One payment per household. A Government of Ireland initiative. Brought to you by the Department of Social Protection.
The county's #1 talk show, The 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio.
Man, you're very welcome back to the programme. Good morning if you're just joining us. Coming up shortly after the bingo numbers, we have Community Garda information. But as you know, yesterday on the programme, we had a representative on from the Farmers Alliance. And they called for the immediate resignation of the Agriculture Minister, Charlie McConalogue. They were not happy with what they claimed was his representations on the nitrates issue and what have you. Now, obviously, as we do all the time, we invited the Minister on to the programme, but he declined and issued this statement instead. If you're covering this issue, I'd appreciate, in the interests of balance, that this message is broadcast too. Thanks. As you know, I refuse to participate in interviews with Greg in order to make it clear to the public that I object to the way the morning show has become completely dominated by his views on the issues that the show covers. You also know that it's always been my approach to communicate and discuss issues with the public, as evidenced by my frequent interviews with the show in the past and the regular public meetings I held in parishes across the county. Now, that's fine, and I respect the Minister's views in relation to that. It's not a view shared by the rest of the Cabinet, though, who I've enjoyed very good interviews with Stephen Donnelly and Anne Rabbitt and Simon Harris and pretty much every councillor in the county as well. So unfortunately, thankfully, they obviously don't see it the same way. But anyway, I respect the Minister's views, and that's fine. With regard to the Farmers Alliance comments, I look forward to putting my record against them at the next election, should they decide to contest an election. I note that no existing rural TD or councillor anywhere in the country has seen anything in them that would cause them to join up. I've worked hard to deliver for farmers in Donegal and continue to do so. Some of the key issues delivered to support agriculture in Donegal includes a new common agricultural policy plan that ensured farmers in Donegal and the North West were treated fairly. A new beef scheme that pays €150 per cow for the first 23 cows, compared to a payment of €90 on the first 10 cows in the scheme that it replaced. A new environmental scheme that saw funding increase by 50% and over 5,000 farmers taking part in Donegal, which is 1/9 of all participants nationally, with average payments per farm expected to be €5.5 grand. A doubling of the payment per ewe from €10 to €20. 430 investment items now available for capital investment grant aid under the TAM scheme, compared to 300 items previously. Thanks, Charlie. Okay, there you go. More than happy to put that out there. We were talking earlier on to John McLaughlin about lorry drivers and the fact that he believes under 21 should be allowed to drive HGVs. Ask him how many hours you need to work to get €1,200 a week. Yeah, I'd be interested in that myself. Another, being involved in a collision first doesn't mean you were responsible for that collision. I was involved in a few. Thankfully, none were my fault. Another, if bus operators and haulage companies paid a proper wage, you wouldn't need teenagers driving HGVs. Another here, any young person, be it male or female, who's grown up on a farm is well capable of driving tractors or lorries. I myself have been driving since I was 8 years old. Common sense prevails. Another, it's not right targeting young male and females that are driving tractors or lorries. There are more accidents to do with cars than larger vehicles. It's people driving under the influence of drugs and alcohol is the problem. OK, thank you very much indeed for that. Greg, at what point do we, the native Irish, wake up and realise that our country is now full up, despite what our government will say? We can't take in non-vetted adult men forever. Time to close our doors, they believe. It depends when. I suppose, are you talking about full in terms of the amount of people you can fit into the country? Obviously, we're still miles behind pre-famine population. Or are you talking about services and what have you? And is it exclusive to men, or are you on about all people coming here to whatever they're fleeing? Greg, I'm trying over 18 months to get planning on my own land close to the family and cannot get it. Northerners with plenty of money building all around the same area. No issue with planning and selling houses as soon as it's built. Planning in Donegal is a joke, and they believe it's... Well, I can't say what they believe is the cause of that. It's terrible that people can't get planning close to their home. Did you bring out one of the... For a pre-planning meeting, did they say why? Is it because there are other properties available to purchase in the local area? Is it because of the design of the property? I wonder what the reasons they're giving you are. Who is paying for the costs involved in taking in migrants? Us, the taxpayer. Europe, if Europe is it, and European taxpayers, which we are. Please read out these comments. Okay, I've read it out. There you go. How do I get the phone number of Fastway in Letterkenny? I got an email saying a parcel was delivered to my home and signed for, but it wasn't. There's no phone number on the website and they haven't answered any emails. Am I the only one with this problem? Well, not really, because I'm not exclusive to that company, but you see regularly on social media, it will pop up saying, do you know the number for the local delivery driver of a particular company? Right, okay, listen, thanks for all of your comments coming in. Lots of you getting involved in the conversation about lowering the age potentially for HGV licences, but we are going to take a break, and what we will do is come back with Community Guard information. Garda Charlene's going to be in with us with the latest information and appeals, where you can hear them first on Highland Radio here in the 9 till noon show every Tuesday.
It's time for NCBI Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Tuesday the 5th of December. You're playing on the brown sheet. The reference number is S2. It's game number 49. The numbers are 23, 28, 37, 39, 3, 27, 60, 44, 74, and finally 6. Phone your claim to 9104833 before 8 tonight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your NCBI bingo information at highlandradio.com.
Get glowing skin this winter with the Clarins Gift of Beauty at McElhinney's. Purchase 2 or more Clarins products, one to be moisturiser or serum, and receive a choice of 4 free beauty treats and a gorgeous beauty bag. Hurry, offer available at McElhinney's until December 10th while stocks last.
Hi, Teresa Mannion here with a road safety alert. Falling snow and freezing fog will reduce visibility. Do not drive on the taillights of a vehicle in front, as it can give a false sense of security. When you slow down, use your brakes so that your brake lights warn drivers behind you. From the Road Safety Authority.
Stay warm for less this winter with Homeland. Alcas Energy Wood Pellets 10 kg, buy 10 bags, get 1 free. Kiln dried softwood logs, buy 2 bags for €14. Nationwide delivery available. Shop in store or online at homeland.ie. The Tumbling Paddies this Saturday night at Pulse Venue Letterkenny. Doors open at 9:30. Tickets now on sale at Eventbrite with support from DJ Tubbsy. That's the Tumbling Paddies this Saturday night at Pulse Venue Letterkenny.
9 till Noon Show, sponsored by Evolve Clothing. Merry Christmas to all our customers and thanks for all your support every year. In store at Letterkenny Retail Park or online at evolveclothing.com.
The Community Garda information slot is brought to you by Sheridan Security Systems, protecting what you value most. Call today and get your zero-wire alarm system from €299. Sheridan Security, 91-26025.
Okay, it is time for Community Garda information. We're joined in studio this week by Garda Sergeant Charlene Anderson. Charlene, thank you so much for your time today, as always. Good morning, Greg. We appreciate it. Now, you're going to have to just come behind that slide. No, stay there. Perfect. I know you love the microphone. Stay where you are. Right, okay. We've got some advice for you coming up and some word on an upcoming event as well. But we'll start with the appeals as we normally do. And criminal damage in Killybegs, Charlene.
That's correct, Greg. So this morning, Gardaí in Killybegs.
I'm not getting you at all on that microphone. I beg your pardon. Yeah, you're going to have to.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right.
Okay, thank
Try
you so
again,
much.
take two. So this morning, Gardaí in Killybegs are investigating the circumstances surrounding a house fire that occurred on the Donegal Road, Killybegs, and that was near the graveyard.
Can I stop you just a moment? Because it's just, if you could slightly rotate that towards you, just so the numbers are facing you. That's if you rotate the whole mic. No, the other way. Now, should we start again? I'm going to start again because we have to cut this out and put it on social media, okay? Right. It is Tuesday, December 5th, and it's time for Community Garda information, and we're joined in studio by Garda Sergeant Charlene Anderson from the Buncrana Garda Station. Charlene, good morning to you.
Good morning, Greg.
Thank you so much. Okay. As I said a little earlier on, we do have some information, some advice for you and some upcoming events, but we will start with the appeals when we can hear Charlene now, and we'll start with that one, the criminal damage in Killybegs.
That's correct, Greg. So Gardaí in Killybegs are investigating the circumstances surrounding a house fire that occurred on the Donegal Road in Killybegs, and that was near the graveyard on Friday the 1st of December. So Gardaí were alerted to the fact that a vacant house was on fire shortly after 10 p.m. on that date. Now, the fire service attended the scene and extinguished the flames, but the house was destroyed as a result of the fire. Thankfully, nobody was hurt. So the possibility that the fire may have been started deliberately has not been ruled out, and this morning we're appealing to anyone who may have observed any suspicious activity on the Donegal Road in Killybegs last Friday between 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. to make contact with Gardaí in Ballyshannon on 07198 585 30, or alternatively they can contact the Garda Confidential line on 1800 666 111.
Okay, we'll stay with criminal damage and go to Letterkenny now, Charlene.
So Gardaí in Letterkenny are investigating an incident of criminal damage which occurred at Beechwood Road, Letterkenny on Sunday the 3rd of December, and this was shortly after 6 p.m. Now we understand that 3 youths were seen throwing stones at a house, and one of the stones hit the glass in the door of the house, causing it to smash. So we just appeal to anyone who may have seen the youths, anyone who may have been in the area with any information in relation to this particular incident, to contact Gardaí in Letterkenny on 9167 100.
Now, unfortunately, we've appeals as it relates to a number of burglaries. You might give us some advice that might be useful for us going forward. But first, we'll start with the incident in Letterkenny, if that's okay, in Knocknamona Road Park.
That's correct. So Gardaí in Letterkenny are investigating a burglary that occurred at Knocknamona Park on Tuesday, the 28th of November at approximately 5:15 p.m. Now, resident of the property was upstairs in their home when they were disturbed by an intruder. The intruder ran down the stairs and jumped out a window and left the scene. Now, we understand that nothing was stolen and no property was damaged. But the man in question was described as being approximately 5'10" in height, skinny with short dark hair, and was wearing a black top and black coloured jeans. So we appeal to anyone who may have observed a man of this description in the area to make contact with us, and we'd also appeal to anyone who may have travelled in the area and perhaps has dash cam footage that would make that available to Gardaí in Letterkenny if possible.
Now to Convoy now, Charlene.
That's correct. So this is another appeal in relation to a burglary. So we're just appealing for information in relation to the burglary that is believed to have occurred in the area of Carrickbrack Convoy on Wednesday the 29th of November between 3 p.m. and 5 p.m. Now we understand that entry was gained to an unlocked shed at a house in that area between those times. Nothing was stolen from the shed, but we'd appeal to anyone who may have observed any suspicious activity in the Carrickbrack area or indeed the surrounding areas during those times, and that was between 3 and 5 p.m. to contact Gardaí in Letterkenny on 9167100.
And to Muff now.
To Muff. So Gardaí in Buncrana are investigating a burglary which happened at No Head Road, Muff, between 9 p.m. on Friday the 1st and 9 a.m. on Saturday the 2nd of December. Now, entry was gained to a shed by forcing the locks, and it would appear, again, that nothing was stolen in relation to this particular burglary, but we'd appeal to anyone who may have observed any suspicious activity in the area to contact Gardaí in Buncrana on 9320540.
And another incident in Muff, if I'm correct.
That's correct. So another burglary that occurred at Lenamore, Muff, on Saturday the 2nd of December between 7 a.m. and 7:30 a.m. Now, entry was gained to a farm shed after the locks were forced. A number of power tools were stolen from the shed, and they were a black and green Hitachi SDS Max Tango drill, a black and green Hitachi impact drill, a black and green Hitachi impact gun, and a black and green Hitachi cordless grinder. So significant number of power tools taken in this burglary, Greg. So again, this morning we just appeal to anyone who may have observed any suspicious activity or any suspicious maybe vehicles in the area to contact Gardaí in Buncrana 9320540. And once again, anyone that might have travelled in the area between Lenamore and Muff between 7 and 8 a.m. They may have dash cam footage. It could be very relevant to this particular investigation, or indeed any of the ones that I've spoken about, to contact Gardaí in Buncrana.
Yeah, and don't curate the information yourself. Anything at all, even if it seems insignificant, pass it on to Gardaí. It could be a vital part of that investigation. And there's a mix in the burglaries there: unoccupied, occupied, outbuildings, sheds. And there's, quite a few that you've highlighted there. So obviously those in the criminal community very active at the moment, and we have to best protect ourselves, Charlene.
That's correct. And you can see from the appeals, they're happening at all different times of the day. It's not just nighttime. And I think sometimes we do think that it's just nighttime that these incidents occurs. Early in the morning, during the day, houses that are unoccupied. I suppose, look, in light of the increase in thefts and burglaries around this time of year, we just encourage homeowners to review their security regularly. Light up, lock up. It's so important. Whether you're at home, when you're leaving the house, make sure that there's a light on. Lock your doors and windows. We do forget. Even your car, if it's parked on your street or it's parked outside, sometimes we come home, get out of the car and go into the house. But it's just important that we're just being cognizant.
Yeah, because even in that one that happened between 3 and 5 in the afternoon, you could have been heading off to pick the kids up from school and grab a few bits and home in the middle of the day. And why would you lock the door, some might feel. But clearly, I'm not saying that's the case in this case. I don't know the background to that, but I'm trying to give a real world example of stuff we quite easily might do. And that's it. And look, a lot of these incidents are opportunistic crimes. Someone just sees an opportunity, and it doesn't really matter what time of the day or night. They're just going to, I suppose, take advantage of that. So it's really, look, if you have an alarm, put your alarm on if you're leaving the house. Some of these alarms you can turn them on when you're inside the house too. And then you knock off the different sensors for use. I suppose, look, if you have keys, don't leave them on your hall table, maybe store them away. Keep large amounts of cash and jewellery. Maybe if you have a safe or somewhere secure in the house, ensure that your exterior, your lights in your sheds, ensure the lights are on. If you have sheds or outbuildings, maybe ensure that they're locked. And I think what's clear too from some of the appeals that, obviously sometimes the shed might be closed, others it might be locked. They are prepared to break the lock open. And a lot of people perhaps have stuff that's even more valuable in the shed than might be in the house. So we have to start looking at our outbuildings, as if they are houses in terms of lighting and, sensors or whatever it might be, clearly, because the criminals are targeting them.
Absolutely, and a lot of times people would get a house alarm and ensure that everything's secure in the house, and then they have, as you rightly said there, a lot of their valuables there. We spoke about drills being taken this morning.
Thousands of euro stuff, I would say.
And, you know, they could be in a shed and perhaps there is no lock on the shed. So it's just, look, it's really just to be mindful. I suppose we're all guilty of it at times, whether it is driving our car into the drive, jumping out, going into the house, not locking the car, and then I suppose overnight you might forget about it and someone sees an opportunity. So,
you know, and also too, we kind of perhaps feel secure in the knowledge that everyone associate or everyone we're friends with or who can access our social media are actually our friends and people that might care about us, but clearly not. There are people who harvest and pass on this information. I know that myself as a fact. We really have to be careful, don't we, with how we use social media, because the modern criminal will use that information.
Absolutely, and particularly, you know, when people are going on holidays as well, they're posting about it before they go, and then when they're away, they're posting about it, and I suppose people see opportunities there. So even in that regard, if someone would want to contact or notify Gardaí that they're going to be away for a period, whether that's a couple of weeks, we can ensure that proactive patrols are conducted in the area. It's just little things, but I suppose collectively, you know, it can help somebody.
For sure. And I just wonder sometimes, are we as a population as much the eyes and ears of the community, you know, to pass on important information to the Gardaí, or, you know, to keep an eye out on our neighbours, or, you know, we don't want to be accused of curtain twitching, if you know what I mean. But I think it really is important that we keep an eye on our communities and pass on any information that we think is, even if we think it's a little bit suspicious, it's up to the Gardaí then to decide what to do with that information.
Absolutely, and I would encourage people to contact us if they do, you know, if they see something suspicious or they think something's not right, or perhaps even at this time of year they mightn't have seen someone for a couple of days. You know, people are suffering isolation, loneliness. There's all that in the mix as well. If it means a guard doing a welfare call to see if somebody's all right, or indeed if it's a car that's up and down the road and someone says that car it's not familiar, it shouldn't be around here, ring it in. It's no harm getting these things checked out. That's our job, that's what we do, and look, we're here and we're happy to help.
Now, as sure as a gun fires bullets, over the Christmas period someone will be going into a shop, they'll pick up a 500 or 600 euro electrical item, they'll put it in the boot, they'll move to the next shop or whatever. Someone may well be watching them. They know that item's in there. It might be very clear what it is. I'm thinking a game console or something like that. I think we talk about that every year. We have to be really careful. And it's horrible because people don't want to sometimes feel that things are the way they are, but they've always been this way. We have to be really careful with how we shop as well. We did mention this a couple of weeks ago, but I think it's a really a good reminder as people really ramp up the Christmas shopping.
Yeah, well, first of all, it would just ensure that your vehicle is locked.
Yeah,
I think that's a big thing, or that the windows are up. You know, you can hop out the vehicle and maybe the back window is down, or something. It transpires later. Valuables, try and, you know, put them in the boot if you can at all. Keep them out of sight, out of mind. And again, back to this opportunistic thing. Someone's passing by, they see an opportunity and they see something and they just want it, break the window and they take it. So out of sight, out of mind, lock it in the boot. Any expensive gifting, if possible, try and leave it to last to the end of your shopping, that you're not, we'll say shopping, you're out shopping the whole day, you're going back to your car and putting things in, and the next thing you back at the end of the day and half of it is gone. So look, just to try and park somewhere where there's lights, try and park somewhere where it's secure as best as possible, or that there's cameras, CCTV. Ensure your windows and doors are locked. If you have valuable items, put them perhaps in the boot, as I said, out of sight, out of mind. All those little things, Greg, are so important. And of course, absolutely report any thefts or suspicious activities in car parks to the guards, and we'll investigate that.
Yeah, it has to be done. Okay, I wouldn't mind a quick chat with you about the Ask for Angela campaign, because I know this is something that you're very passionate about, as many of your colleagues are as well. We spoke about it in the past, and especially coming into the party/Christmas season, it might be even particularly more relevant. So could you give us a bit of a background to it and how it works and who's involved in it, please, Charlene?
Yeah, so last year we launched the Ask for Angela campaign in Donegal. It's a collaboration with ourselves on Garda Síochána, the Vintners, the Hoteliers Federation and the Joint Policing Committee. The Ask for Angela campaign, Greg, it's a safety initiative. It's coordinated to keep people safe across Donegal. So again, this year it's just a renewed focus. I suppose, look, we're coming into the Christmas and New Year period. We have a lot of people going out socialising again. There's Christmas parties and people are out and about. So it's just really to, as I said, put a renewed focus on the campaign as we seek to just to ensure people that when they are out, that there is help if they find themselves in an unsafe or vulnerable situation. The initiative encourages individuals to approach a member of staff in any licensed premises that supports the Ask for Angela campaign. The licensed premises will have posters or stickers and it will say Ask for Angela. I suppose the increase in online dating as well. People might be speaking online for a while and then they go and they meet up for the first time. And perhaps they feel unsafe or there's something just not right and they want to get out of that situation. And it's at that point that they could go to the bar and ask for Angela, and staff will know what to do, whether that's to remove them from the situation, allow them to make a phone call, perhaps contact somebody for them, or if it got to the stage, depending on the severity of it, they might have to remove somebody from the premises or indeed contact ourselves. But look, there is help out there. That's the most important thing, and it's just to add that reassurance to people that when they are out and about, that if they do find themselves in an unsafe or vulnerable situation, go to the bar in any of these premises that supports the Ask for Angela campaign. And as I said, the Vintners Association are involved with it, the Hoteliers Federation, the Joint Policing Committee, and indeed ourselves, and Ask for Angela.
Yeah, and I'm sure they are as well, but I mean, there might be seasonal staff that weren't around this time last year, just for managers, bar managers, hotel managers, whatever. It's just to remind staff about the initiative, because the last thing we'd ever want, and I'm sure it wouldn't happen, is that someone did ask and, the message didn't get across. Did you get any have you had any anecdotal evidence of the use of this locally, or
no individual cases? To be honest, Greg,
because it won't always come to the attention of Gardaí, of course.
Well, that's it.
Exactly.
I suppose just in general conversation, it's received very positively, which is a good thing. And just as you were saying, we might have new staff this year in different premises or seasonal staff. Last week, I sent out packs to all the licensed premises that are aligned with the Vintners and the Hoteliers Federations across Donegal. The packs have gone out, the posters, the information for staff, they're laminated for staff, as you can see there, and the posters will be displayed. So it's just a renewed focus on the Ask for Angela campaign.
So important.
It's just about keeping people safe across Donegal.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's really important. Okay, finally, the Rathmullen Polar Plunge is back. It takes place on the 7th. I'm shivering just thinking about it myself. Talk to me. It's actually, I was at it and it's fantastic fun and a great spirit that would warm the cockles of your heart. Not much else, but but it would warm your heart. But anyway, talk to us about what's coming up on December 9th.
So there's a number of Garda members from the Donegal division, and they'll once again get chili in the swilly at the Rathmullen Polar Plunge.
I love it.
At the Rathmullen Polar Plunge on Saturday, the 9th of December, and it's all in aid of Special Olympics Ireland. Now, the plunge will kick off at 2 p.m, and we hope that a big crowd will come along and support all those who are taking part in the Polar Plunge. And I suppose, look, the Special Olympics athletes show courage and bravery and determination in their sports on a daily basis, Greg, and we're delighted to be able in some small way to support these inspirational people. So a full day of festivities has been planned from 12 to 5 with something to suit everyone, from Christmas fairs to arts and crafts, music, entertainment. And of course, Santa and Mrs. Claus will be there as well. So look, we encourage everyone to wrap up, I suppose, and come along and enjoy the fun on the day.
Wrap up and then strip off. It is actually, it is fantastic fun, and a lot of businesses get involved into it, and sort of people that you might recognise. And as I say, it's a fantastic thing for a fantastic cause. Have you ever done it?
No, I haven't, but I've been down to support them, and that's so important as well, of course, with 3 jackets on and a hat and a scarf.
You never showed support. I'm saying, have you done it?
No, I haven't.
Have you any intention of doing it? Not even this year, but in years to come?
I'll have to, the jury's out.
Right.
I'll support it, definitely.
Okay, exactly. Rathmullen Polar Plunge, it's on December 9th. It's a fantastic day. It's on from 12 to 5, so get down at some point over those 5 hours, because it's edging closer to Christmas, and there's a great Christmas buzz about it too, and it's really good fun to see people in really uncomfortable situations. All right, we'll be back with more shortly. Just to remind you that Community Garda Information is back with you after the 10 o'clock news next Tuesday. Garda Sergeant Charlene Anderson, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Greg. Thank you.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com.
9 till Noon Show, sponsored by Evolve Clothing. Merry Christmas to all our customers, and thanks for all your support every year. In store at Letterkenny Retail Park or online at evolveclothing.com.
This Christmas, dive into the magic of style with Green Shoes. Stocking all your favourite brands from Kate Appleby, Doc Martens and Birkenstock to Tommy Bow, New Balance and Echo. Or for the gift of choice, grab a Green Shoes gift card. Shop in store in Market Square and Letterkenny Shopping Centre and in Fulcara. Or online at greenshoes.com.
Spoil someone with a beautiful fragrance this Christmas from McGee's Chemist Letterkenny. Choose by designer, budget or celebrity. Top names like Clarins, Burberry, Gucci and Dolce & Gabbana. Also great prices on Calvin Klein, Flower Bomb and so many more. The best fragrant gift sets available this year can also be found in McGee's Chemist, Main Street, Letterkenny and online at mcgees.ie. McGee's, where the best costs less.
Hi, Paddy here at Shane Conley Cars in Donegal Town. Are you looking to upgrade your car? With Shane Conley Cars, you'll find makes and models for every budget. Great finance options, and we also accept trade-ins. Check out ShaneConleyCars.com or call in to us at Shane Conley Cars from Lonaher Road, Donegal Town.
Buncrana Golf Club Charity Bingo will take place in the Inishowen Gateway Hotel Buncrana this Thursday, 7th of December, in association with iCare. €3,000 must go on the night, including €1,000 to be won on the last house. Doors open at 7:30 with eyes down at 8:30. That's Buncrana Golf Club Charity Bingo, Inishowen Gateway, Thursday, 7th of December.
This December the 22nd, you could own a brand new car worth €30,000. Highland Radio is giving away a brand new Skoda Kamiq worth over €30,000. Someone, and it could be you, will get a call from Greg Hughes on the 9 to Noon show on Friday, December the 22nd.
You've just won a car.
Yes, steady on, that could be you. If you've got the lucky ticket, simply go to highlandradio.com, click on the car link, answer an easy question and buy a ticket for €10, 6 for €50 or 10 for €80. Highland Radio's Great Car Giveaway. Get your ticket now.
Okay, we do with quite a lot of statistics on this programme, but this is one that genuinely surprised me. 83% of guide dog and assistance dog owners have had a negative experience in the last year when trying to access and participate in services and amenities. This, of course, despite being legally entitled to do so. It's a new survey. The findings are contained within a new survey by the Irish Guide Dogs for the Blind. Lane Kennedy is Advocacy and Policy Officer with the Irish Guide Dogs for the Blind and joins us on the programme now. Good morning to you. Thanks for your time today.
Good morning, Greg. Thanks for having us on this morning.
Yeah, it probably didn't come as a surprise to the IGDB, but, you know, over 8 in 10 people having negative experiences, it really did surprise me, Lane.
Yes, and it's very frustrating and distressing for blind and vision impaired people getting out and about with a guide dog as mobility aid, for families that have an autistic child and they're using an assistance dog as a safety aid for their child so that they're able to get out and about independently at the family unit. It's very distressing to them and very frustrating that there seems to be, the survey shows that there is a significant lack of awareness amongst staff working in all types of businesses. The incidents they report cover transport companies such as taxis, hospitality industries such as hotels and B&Bs, some medical centres and shops and pubs and so on. And really across the board, employers need to check in with all their staff, their new staff and their existing staff, and say, are you aware that guide dogs and assistance dogs, when assisting their owner, are entitled to be on their place of business?
Yeah, and it's not just private businesses as well. There's one story quoted to try and get the message out there where someone was denied entry to a hospital.
Yes, in that instance, it was a young person who has a guide dog as their mobility aid. They were in the hospital centre with their mother. The mother needed care, and they were approached by the staff. And what was particularly frustrating to that guide dog owner was that the staff kept speaking to the mother. They weren't even addressing her personally and asking her about her rights. So that was very frustrating at the time. But the guide dogs are allowed into all the public areas in a hospital, like anywhere other people can go in a hospital. Someone with a guide dog or an assistance dog can go as well. So that was very distressing for her when she's there supporting her mother and her mother needed medical attention.
Yeah, and it happens so frequently too. It must be tiresome. It must feel humiliating. It must feel degrading. Tiresome to have to keep making the argument to try and convince someone of your rights. That really at this point you would hope that education and training has been put in place. A lot of this, most of this, all of this is completely avoidable.
It is really, it's like a key aspect that we're finding in the survey is that a third of the access incidents reported were resolved at the time when the guide dog owner or assistance dog owner asked to speak with the manager, and then the manager was able to speak with the staff at the time and say, no, look, our policy is guide dogs are allowed in place. And of course the policy should be there catering for all people and making it aware that it is pure discrimination to stop someone coming into their establishment with a guide dog or an assistance dog. A quarter of the incidents reported, though, could not be resolved on the spot. So even senior management didn't seem to be aware of the rights of someone with a guide dog and assistance dog, that essentially they deserve the same level of customer care as any other person. There are no restrictions on the guide dog or an assistance dog. They are permitted onto all public places. And we really are using this campaign as an opportunity to open up our avenues in terms of like encouraging businesses to go to our website, guidedogs.ie, go direct to the advocacy page. There's a number of access guides up there geared towards different sectors of businesses, such as transport, including information for taxis and so on, such as hospitality, hotels, B&Bs and so on, such as food businesses, restaurants, shops, across all the board. So the information is there, the access guides are there, and what's great about the access guides is that they go more than explaining the rights that someone with a guide dog has. It also gives really good information on the extra positive steps that a business can take to make their businesses and their services more accessible to people with a guide dog or an assistance dog. Another key message that we would like people and businesses to take on board is if you need more information, do get in touch. Email access@guidedogs.ie and we will pick up their access regulation requirement and their query and work with them to ensure that they have the right policy in place.
Yeah, but I mean, I know it doesn't. There's a lot of what I'm going to mention, or some of them, what I'm going to mention, doesn't necessarily apply to all the people that you would speak on behalf of. But when you just run through your head in terms of, people parking in spaces or spaces not available for people with a disability, hedges hanging out over footpaths, people parking on footpaths, street furniture, sandwich boards, how tables and chairs are arranged at the entrance of a business, and on and on and on it goes. It is no surprise that people contact the likes of this programme to say, I just don't leave the house anymore because it's too much of a hassle. That's how isolating and discriminating the world can seem to people.
Well, Greg, you are raising a very important point there, and our own service users do experience those issues as well. People who are blind and vision impaired also do have a disability parking pass. Obviously, the person driving the car uses it, and they have the right to use accessible parking as well, and they encounter those issues. In terms of overhanging hedges, that is a huge frustration for people who are blind and vision impaired. And also cars parking on the footpath as well. People need to be more aware. Number one, cut back hedges on your garden if they're like infringing on the public footpath. Do not park on the pavement. Really think before you park. To give you some examples, some of our service users, guide dog owners and assistance dog owners are often forced to turn around and go back home when their pathway, their travel path is blocked by people not considering the needs of everyone in their community. So there does seem to be a lack of consideration for all people in the community, and that the issues that impact on people with disabilities, when we work on them and when we work together as a community and with the local authority and with everyone that has that can influence to improve community access and also access to businesses, you're not only helping people with a disability such as a vision impairment or mobility impairment in your area, you will find that this assists everyone. Like think of parents that have a buggy and they have a family and they're trying to get to and from school. Their pathway is also blocked as well.
And dog fouling as well is a big issue. And also recently we had to platform a lady campaigning for crossings in Letterkenny, the biggest town in Ireland, that there was an audio assistance that people would know when the lights were green to cross the road stuff. It's just amazing that in 2023 the challenges that people are facing, that really shouldn't be an issue if we were as caring a society as we like to make out we are sometimes. And finally, You talked about information being available, but a lot of the issues that we seem to be talking about here are based off sort of ignorance or a lack of legislation or a lack of what you should be knowing what you should be doing. Do we need to be more proactive? I know you're doing so through programs like this, but I don't know if there's an agency of the government or maybe the likes of IBEC for businesses or the Retail Association for shops. I don't know, for them to get on board with this and to start contacting their members so that ignorance can't be a defence?
There are a number of avenues, like for instance the Food Safety Authority and the Environmental Health Officers regulations. They could review their practices and make sure, are we making all businesses aware that guide dogs and assistance dogs are permitted onto all public places. That's one aspect. State parties should look at where they can influence regulations as well. Like they can look at examining the Equal Status Act as one example and broadening out the influence of that act, such as ensuring that there is an enforcement on businesses to have an inclusion officer on their team so that they look at all aspects that affect diversity in the community and to make sure that they are ensuring that discrimination is not happening to anyone in the general population, especially including people with a disability and elderly people and families and so on. But there is an opportunity here that we can pick up on, and it can happen working with state parties, working with local authorities, working with the organisations that you suggested there, IBEC and so on, that really for people to pick up the pace here and say there is a gap here. The disabled community in the last census makes up 22% of the population. In the previous 2016 census, it was 13%. But just because we're like the people with disabilities are a marginalised, smaller group in the population, doesn't mean that they should be forgotten about, and that people need to recognise that when their needs are taken care of and addressed, society is easier and it's actually more user-friendly and more accessible for everyone.
Thank you so much for your time today, and I hope the message gets across, because, I think we'd all want to... I don't think anyone purposely wants to be discriminating or excluding people in this fashion. Thank you so much for your time. That's Lane Kennedy there, Advocacy and Policy Officer with the Irish Guide Dogs for the Blind. Maybe you've experienced that and you can give us some real world examples. 08660 25,000. Hi Greg, totally agree with Minister McConalogue. Very childish behaviour. You have a very fair, non-biased view to comments and interviews on the show. Sorry to say the Minister has done, this person believes nothing for Donegal. I've listed off what he believes they've done, or she believes they've done, only for farmers. Greg, Edward here. You can get a licence for an articulated HGV at 18 with a CPC, 21 without CPC. Without CPC, you can't get paid. So there you go. There's no reason why women drivers shouldn't get the same money as men, considering they do the same job every bit as well. It is a peculiar one that I can't understand why they might get paid less. Lorry owners, believes this caller, are the worst payers. I know several lorry drivers who are owed hundreds in wages. Many are getting cash in hand, so they can't make an issue of it. Drivers getting €1,700 per week is nonsense. In fact, for the hours they work, their hourly rate is very low. I listen to you every day, and as a woman over 70, I think it's disgraceful that the Minister has just decided to not engage with the only media I listen to. You raise all the issues relative to me in the county. Thank you, and I hope you, because go out of my way to platform the issues as much as is possible. Like, say, for instance, just to give an insight, this is the way I'd see it, is like, say, an issue on the hospital. Like, you know, we accept that, and not to bring that up again, but we accept that, you know, a lot of people have really good experiences down there. The staff are fantastic, the consultants are fantastic, and everything is fantastic, but there are issues that need to be highlighted. So we've platformed those to try and help. Hopefully we contributed to the minister coming up and meeting with consultants and GPs. That does not mean that you're anti-government. That means you're pro the people, pro the improvement of services. As I said to Minister Donnelly here, I'm not the enemy. We're to work together to try and to get to where we all want to be. And he said that. He says, I know you're not. It's not my motivation. And, you know, but you still need programs where you're not afraid to ask questions, because, you know, some of it seems very PR that you hear elsewhere. I've heard of young people going to Australia for short periods, getting a HGV or bus licence. They return here, bring the licence to the tax office and get an Irish licence. No lessons, no test required. Can you check if this is happening? I don't know. I mean, it would not be unusual, would it, for a licence from another country, if the country is established to have a robust testing system, that their licence would be recognised here. Is that controversial? I'm not sure. But anyway, we'll throw it out there. Someone's bound to have the answer to that. God knows so many people have left, and hopefully quite a few have come back as well. We're back with the weather very shortly.
9 till noon show, sponsored by Evolve Clothing. 2 floors of men's winter fashions. This Christmas, it has to be Evolve, Letterkenny Retail Park, or online at evolveclothing.com. Open 7 days.
Heading out on the town tonight? Doing some shopping tomorrow? How do you know that the door staff or security guards are vetted, trained and licensed? Individuals licensed by the Private Security Authority must wear an identity badge displaying their licence number and their photo. Unlicensed door staff and security guards face prosecution and fines. To report unlicensed door staff or security guards, visit psa-gov.ie. Issued by the Private Security Authority, the security regulator.
After a lifetime of having Christmas dinner cooked for him, this year was Rory's turn, and the pressure was on. Not wanting to leave anything to chance, he brought in some award-winning help, namely a Dunnes Stores Simply Better Irish Farmhouse cheese board, before stealing the show with the Dunnes Stores Simply Better Irish rack of lamb. And the crowd loved it. Job well done, Rory. Now go put your feet up. Make your Christmas simply better with award-winning food from Dunnes Stores.
Tinny's Toys, Ireland's largest farm toy superstore, isn't just about farm toys. We've loads of fun outdoor toys for kids, such as electric scooters, crazy carts, electric quads, jeeps, tractors, and so much more. Hassle-free parking at the door with no traffic jams. Our Christmas club is now open too, and a wee deposit secures your item. Tinny's Toys, Leck Road, Letterkenny, or online at tinnystoys.com. Lay down.
Give the gift of Redcastle Hotel and Spa to your loved ones this Christmas. Choose from a range of memorable experiences to suit all. Visit our website to view and purchase our gift voucher offers and experiences, including our winter getaway offer from only €125 per couple. For more information, see redcastlehoteldonegal.com.
It's time to give your favourite hotel the recognition they deserve. Nominate now for the Highland Radio Hospitality Awards at highlandradio.com. Hurry! Let's celebrate excellence together. Nominations close on December 13th.
And now the Highland weather, brought to you by Shop LK. An accumulation of Christmas shoppers will descend on Letterkenny this December. See shoplk.ie or like us on Facebook.
Now, Tuesday, we'll have some isolated pockets of fog and freezing fog, though gradually clearing to leave a mainly dry, bright day with spells of sunshine. It'll remain cloudier the further east you go, with some rain for a time this morning and early afternoon. That should escape the northwest. Cold with highest temperatures of 3 to 6 degrees and mostly light breezes. Now, we had a fantastic entrance yesterday to our competition in association with our friends at Cadbury. A huge response, and we want to match that today, if you don't mind. We're asking you to share with us why you want to secretly send chocolate to someone special in your life this year. What makes them deserving of a Cadbury Secret Santa bar? Tell us about a person in your life who deserves this surprise treat through the post, but be sure to keep it a secret, and we'll keep it a secret too. So call or text in your reason to 086 60 25 000. 086 087 086 60 25,000. And just let us know who in your life deserves this beautiful Cadbury Secret Santa bar. Text or WhatsApp your reason, name and address to 086 60 25,000. Now, the prize is a cracker. For nominating, you'll be entered into our draw for a Cadbury hamper. We've got one to give away today, so one of you will win this beautiful big hamper today. And the person you nominate will also receive a Cadbury Secret Santa bar. Now, we heard yesterday about a wonderful lady in her 80s, I believe it was, who contributes so much to her family and her community, and someone just wanted to say thanks to her. That's the kind of stuff we're listening for. Could be anyone in your life for any reason. So nominate your person and why. Text or WhatsApp the reasons, name and address, your name and address to 086 60 25,000. You could win that brilliant Cadbury hamper for nominating, and the person you nominate will receive a lovely Cadbury Secret Santa bar as a wee surprise for them. All right, get your entries in now. It's free to enter, of course, and we appreciate Cadbury in helping us to bring that bit of joy to some of you this Christmas. Now, we've got another hamper tomorrow and one the day after, and then €250 shopping voucher on Friday. So loads to win over the course of this week.
9 till noon show, sponsored by Evolve Clothing, Letterkenny Retail Park. Shop Lyle & Scott, Farah, Gant, Tommy Hilfiger, Calvin Klein, and online at evolveclothing.com.
Dental nurse required for Errigal Dental, Letterkenny. For more information, telephone 91 76 500. That's 91 76 500. Or please send your CV to errigaldental@gmail.com. That's errigaldental@gmail.com.
Connect Hearing is open for free hearing tests. Our audiologist is available Monday to Friday for wax removal services at our Letterkenny clinic in the Courtyard Shopping Centre. We also offer a home visit for those who aren't able to visit us. Our hearing is our social sense. Are you finding hearing more of a challenge? Call Ursula today on 07491 13296 to make an appointment. Good hearing helps us to connect to our family, friends and loved ones. Connect Hearing, connecting you to life.
Check out these special offers at Simpson's Supermarket, Letterkenny. There's Lion's Original Tea Bags, 160s, €4. Nicky Toilet Roll 32-pack, €10. Fairlog 10-pack, €12. And there's Neil's Flour 3kg, €3. Plus, we are now taking orders for your Christmas turkey. While there, check out Peggy's Kitchen Cafe for great food, tea and coffee. Only 2 minutes from Letterkenny Hospital. Simpson's Supermarket. Great value every day.
At iMotors, we have unbeatable offers from Nissan. Call in Monday to Saturday, and if that doesn't suit, join us on the 7th and the 8th of December for our 241 late night opening until 9 p.m. Great 241 offers like 0% finance for our Nissan Leaf, or buy a new 241 and receive a brand new 251 on the Nissan Juke, e-Power Qashqai and the X-Trail with no strings attached. Visit imotors.ie today for more information, or call into our showroom in Drumkeen.
Highland Radio Christmas Concert Countdown is on at the Mount Errigal Hotel, Letterkenny on Monday the 11th of December. Don't miss your last chance to kick off the holiday season with a great lineup of stars including Michael English, John McNichol, Claudia Buckley, our very own David James, and introducing Jack Kyo. This promises to be a brilliant night. Doors open at 7:30 p.m. Show starts at 8:30 sharp. Tickets are flying out the door with just a few remaining at €25 each. Available at Highland Radio, the Mount Errigal Hotel, and at the outlet at highlandradio.com.
And now, IMRO's 2023 Best Local or Regional News Programme, The Voice of the Northwest, the 9 till noon show, with Greg Hughes.
Indeed, we have another hour to come on the show, but at 11 o'clock, let's get a news update, and it's over to Michaela Clark.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. The Taoiseach has again raised the killing of Donegal man Michael Leonard with the Northern Ireland Secretary of State. The 24-year-old was shot dead in 1973 by the RUC near the Donegal-Fermanagh border. In response to a parliamentary question from Donegal Deputy Pearse Doherty, it was confirmed that Micheál Martin has raised the case on a number of occasions and highlighted also that the Leonard's family's efforts to secure a fresh inquest into his death would be thwarted by the UK Legacy Act. Gardaí have not ruled out that a fire at a vacant house on Friday last in Killybegs may have been started deliberately. The blaze, which broke out at around 10 o'clock, destroyed the property on the Donegal Road. There are no reports of any injuries. Meanwhile, a woman whose home in Letterkenny was badly damaged in a fire on Sunday night last has praised the fire service personnel who tackled the blaze, but says they were hampered because a fire hydrant close to the house was clogged with mud and couldn't be accessed. Karen told the 9 till Noon show earlier that it caused delays at a crucial time. The Justice Minister is confident she will survive a motion of no confidence in her. Politicians will debate the Sinn Féin motion in the Dáil this evening following the riots in Dublin. Helen McEntee has described it as a distraction, but South Donegal Deputy Martin Kenny feels it's justified. Gardaí are investigating a burglary at Knocknamona Park, Letterkenny on Tuesday last. They say at approximately 5:15, a resident of the property was upstairs in their home when they disturbed an intruder. The intruder ran down the stairs, jumped out a window and left the scene. Nothing was stolen and no property was damaged. Meanwhile, Gardaí are looking to identify 3 youths seen throwing stones at a house in Letterkenny on Sunday evening. Glass in the door of the house in the Beechwood Road area was smashed during the incident shortly after 6 o'clock. Anyone who observed the youths or who has dashcam footage of the area between 6 and 6:15 is asked to contact a Gardaí in Letterkenny. And finally, this Friday, December the 8th, is the closing date for the public consultation on Donegal County Council's draft climate action plan. People are being invited to have their say on the plan and also to comment on 2 environmental reports which have been published with it. Those are the latest headlines. We'll be back with an update again at 12 noon.
Michaela, thank you very much indeed.
Millionaire Raffle from the National Lottery is back. With 1 millionaire guaranteed and over €6.3 million in cash prizes to be won, it's the biggest ever. The draw is on New Year's Eve and tickets are limited to 600,000. The National Lottery. It could be them. Gift responsibly.
Now we are joined on the programme by Nat O'Connor, Policy Specialist with Age Action. Nat, good to have you back on the show. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Right, okay. Now, there's a warning out there about family members who use next of kin status to swindle older people's money. A senior social worker for the Cork and Kerry region has warned of disgusting financial abuse of elderly patients by family members who use next of kin status to swindle their money. Now, this is someone who's spoken out from the Cork and Kerry region, but I presume it's not exclusive to that region. Is this something that Age Action is familiar with?
Unfortunately so. And, you know, the issue here is this is not an uncommon occurrence. We know from the latest HSC report that over 850 cases of financial abuse of older persons were reported. And those are just the reported cases. And more than half of them affected an older person aged 80 or older. And of course, it's happening all around the country. So unfortunately, while it's not most people's experience, there's hundreds of cases happening every year, and it's certainly an issue for national concern that this is happening. And, you know, you said yourself at the outset, people are abusing next of kin status. There's no such thing in law as being next of kin. It has no legal power. Now, if you're married to someone, if you're the spouse, then you have certain legal rights. But other than that, you know, this term has been abused, and unfortunately it's still used sometimes in, you know, nursing home application forms and the like. It just means who to contact. It doesn't give you any rights to come in and make decisions on behalf of an older person.
In one case, a relative of an older person who was sick in hospital sent in a solicitor to have a will changed at the hospital bedside when the patient was suffering from a progressive illness. Now, that is shocking on so many levels. But did that person do anything legally wrong? Although clearly there is moral questions to be asked there.
Well, the issue there would be, you know, would any court uphold such a will? You know, is there a solicitor involved who's going to be, you know, verifying that will or, you know, registering it? Because if somebody's making a will under duress, or if they're affected by dementia and they're not able to, you know, make decisions at that time, then certainly that would not be a valid will. But it's very serious that such a thing should happen. And I mean, there are steps we can take. I mean, part of Age Action's concern is that we don't have all the legal protection in place that we should have. For example, coercive control is recognised in law in a marriage or in an intimate relationship, where somebody might be essentially bullying or psychologically pushing someone into doing something that they don't really want to do. But we don't recognise that in law when it's an older person affected. So we need to bring that into law, widen the definition. And likewise, we need an adult safeguarding law. At the moment, the HSE has a national safeguarding team, but it's based on guidelines. We want to see legal obligations so that there can be no grey lines and no confusion about this kind of next of kin business.
Yeah, because it doesn't have to be happening widespread. It's happening all too often, but it doesn't have to be widespread for it to, I don't know how you describe it, but just a worry for an older person. Do you know what I mean? That something like this could happen to them when... I mean, an older person can come out of hospital, perfectly fine and live a healthy life for some time to come, but can be really quite disorientated in a hospital setting, for an example, where it could be exploited. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just don't want older people to have any further things to have to worry about. God knows society's set up to make their life difficult enough as is without this sort of emotional worry.
Absolutely. I mean, certainly... there's over 180,000 people in Ireland aged 80 and older, and happily most of them are living independently at home, aging in place in their homes and communities, which is what most of us want. But at any point in time, there are about 30,000 people in nursing homes or other residential care. And it's there where, particularly if someone's affected by dementia or other cognitive issues, that there's a particular vulnerability. And it is only a minority of cases, but unfortunately, it's a case that people are being abused in that context, financially abused, psychologically abused. And unfortunately, it's mostly family members and sometimes the wider family who get involved. And this is to do with an assumption that some people seem to have that they have a right to inheritance. And the law does not recognize a right to inheritance, except again for your husband or wife or for your children. And even then, not in every circumstance. So when a wider family is getting involved and saying, "Oh, well, I'm the only surviving relative," this is just someone seeking, unfortunately, to line their own pockets. And that's something I think as a society we have to take on, because unfortunately we know that people are not reporting issues like this because it's inside the family.
Yes,
they don't want to get the guards involved.
So,
they don't want to make the fuss.
You talked about how in the healthcare setting, the majority are living independently at home, but they probably still have someone calling around that's constantly at them, or emotional blackmail or coercion or whatever it might be. If someone listening is in that position whereby someone is, consistently calling around or called around once and trying to influence them or guilt them or, as I say, emotionally blackmail or whatever it might be to write a will, they should have a will, of course, or to adjust a will, what should someone do in that situation? I would say there's quite a few people listening to this program that say, you know what, I can kind of identify with that.
Well, there's a number of things. I mean, I can give you the number, for example, of the HSE's National Safeguarding Office, which is on 061 461 165. And likewise, Age Action has an information helpline on 01 475 6989. And there's other numbers people can call. And indeed, if somebody is stealing your money, so for example, if someone's doing the shopping for you and you're giving them the bank card and you check your balance and there's just sums are missing, or there's items on the receipt that were not for you, that were for them, that's theft. And if you're not in a position to have that conversation directly with somebody because you need them to do your groceries or whatever, do get in contact with a third party, whether it's Age Action or the HSE or even the Gardaí, who give you advice on what you can do in those circumstances. Because, the risk is that you'd let something slide and that, these things can escalate. So somebody might be doing your shopping and you think, sure, they put petrol in the car, so that's only fair, it's something for them. But if it grows and grows and becomes abusive, then we have to say no, the older person.
And you have to ask yourself, someone might say, well, I don't want to lose them from my life for all their failings, but you do have to ask yourself, is that person worth having around you if that's what they think of you, that they might try and convince you one way or other of something, or they might be, exploiting you financially as well. Before I let you go, Nat, the GEA Go conversation has raised its head again, and it affects older people in my mind to a great extent. It's now going to cost, €79 for people to watch 30-odd games on GEA Go. Obviously, it's a condensed season now. There's a lot of games. The GEA argue that if they didn't have this service, the games wouldn't be there. But again, older people more likely to use cash. If they go and want to watch a game in person, they can't pay cash. They might not have access to the internet. I think, 3 in 10 older people don't have access even to the internet to watch GEA games. Now, the GEA clearly is a business, okay? But it is also of the community and supported by the community and supported really quite healthily. 25 mil, 50 mil in total, I believe, last year by the state. Have you any concerns, Age Action, any concerns of the way even something as important as a GEA seems to be sidelining older people, that they don't seem important?
Well, you've put your finger on it and you've really spelled it out. I mean, as a society, we spend millions every year to support arts, culture and sport. And part of the deal has to be inclusion, to make sure nobody is left behind. And as you say, 3 in 10 older persons don't use the internet at all. And another 3 in 10 who do use the internet have below basic skills. And this is according to regular surveys done by the CSO.
We're into the majority now.
So the majority would have a difficulty with online. And of course, it's not just the subscription cost of the GEA Go, which is reasonable. But if you don't have a digital device, buying of that, buying a broadband subscription, you have to update devices and other software. It's expensive.
It's complicated to get on a telly as well. It is complicated. You know what I mean? It's not really as simple as perhaps it should be.
So there's a lot of barriers there, which we call invisible barriers. And our concern is, the organizations involved, which includes the GAA and RTE, need to make sure there's a pathway there. If an older person wants to learn digital skills, more programs are needed to help people take that step. And at the same time, if people can't use a GEA Go, we have to make sure that the premium matches that people really want to see are available on the television in a normal way.
You see, the government is prepared to withdraw funding in terms of, say, for instance, gender balance on the board of a sporting authority. So they are prepared to say, right, we're not going to give you this money until such time as we see a bit better representation of gender. Yet it seems, to some extent, the GEA is a law into itself that we will chuck the 50 odd million at them annually, but there's nothing coming back in return to say, hold on, we need to come up with a business plan that is inclusive, that's inclusive of the people who perhaps maybe made the GEA what it is today in terms of, cash at the turnstile, in terms of being able to watch the big games. It's like, I just think those people need advocacy at the highest level in government. I think they need more advocacy. That's all I'm saying, really. Maybe that's an opinion, but I don't mind expressing that opinion.
And you put your finger on it. And the issue about the cashless is important, because people say, sure, why can't you tap? You have a bank card. But if you're not using the internet, you can't check your balance online. And we know more than half of older people rely on social protection for more than half of their income. So most are on low fixed incomes where you're minding your money, you're minding it through cash. And exactly as you say, if you want to go pay cash at a turnstile, and certainly from Age Action's perspective, we think every match, there should be at least one gate where you can pay cash. And there's all these workarounds where you can go to certain shops.
But the great PR of it, PR of it, say, do you know what? We really value the older community, and with that in mind, we are providing one cash turnstile because we love them, we care about them, they're in our community, they built our organisation. Can you imagine the positive PR from that? It's wonderful. Now, apparently, you can actually pay cash at league games, believe it or not. But anyway, it's not advertised, but we'll not get into that. Last question to you. It's specific. I know you can't get into specifics, so let's pretend this is a general inquiry. I'm listening to Nat there talking about elder abuse. Can you ask him, what do we do as the same thing happened to our relative in a nursing home? A relative broke into their home, reported to the guards, but they wouldn't help us. They said it was a civil matter. The person changed the locks and put their name on the ESB meter. Our relative has advanced dementia. So they're in the care setting, and a relative has broken into the home, changed the locks, changed the electricity into their name. Gardaí won't get involved. They believe it's a civil matter. I understand it's going to be difficult for you to comment on this because it's kind of a specific case, but what would your general input be there?
As a generic case, if somebody has no entitlement to be in your home. So, for example, if I'm an older person, my adult child has no entitlement to live in my house.
But who can advocate on behalf of the older person with advanced dementia?
So, I mean, there's lots of options there. I mean, organizations such as Sage Advocacy can offer individual, support for a person. Likewise, I would be going back to the guards and saying, no, hang on, or going to a solicitor and looking at this, because it may be a family matter. But if the person has no right to be in a house and certainly no right to be changing locks or changing bills, that is theft. And it's, on a fairly hefty scale. And so that would need to be investigated. And if the person, for example, maybe is in line to inherit a house, they don't own it until probate and the whole legal process. They have no entitlement to use a property that they, in their mind, think that they're going to inherit. Quite the contrary.
All right,
and if somebody commits a crime, they can root themselves out of inheritance as far as the courts are concerned. They can lose any right the court might have given them to inheritance if they commit crime. So there's a lot in this, but certainly, I wouldn't be taking it lying down in terms of, wider family who may be concerned at something they're seeing unfold.
Nat, as always, it's great having you in the show. I do enjoy it. Thanks for your time today again.
Thanks very much.
Bye-bye. Nat O'Connor, policy specialist with Age Action.
The county's #1 talk show, The 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio.
9 till Noon Show, sponsored by Evolve Clothing. Merry Christmas to all our customers and thanks for all your support every year. In store at Letterkenny Retail Park or online at evolveclothing.com.
Is fontas náisiúnta isce é isce éireann. Tá isce éireann freagrach as servicí isce le nóil atá tlán, sováilte agus íon tífa, agus servicí faoil isce a thó láthair de éireann. Má tá aon cheist agad faoin service nó le aibid a cheantar a thuairisciú, Jen teagháil le isce éireann ag 189 278 nó té chuigwater.ie. Isce éireann. Ag soláthar servicí isce de éireann.
Sporting gifts this Christmas. Try Brian McCormick Sports. BBE boxing gloves and accessories. Unicorn dartboards and cabinets. BCE and Riley fold-away pool tables. Click on bmcsports.ie to see the new range. High-vis running jackets with high-vis hats, vests and accessories. Garmin watches to keep you on track. Give the gift of sport this Christmas. Try a BMC Sports gift voucher.
Order your new 241 Suzuki with 0% finance from Barry Brown Cars Milford, main Suzuki dealer in Donegal. Order your 241 Suzuki, one of the most reliable and cost-effective brands on the market, with 0% finance on selected models. So get down to Barry Brown Cars Milford, Suzuki Sales Dealer of the Year, and secure your 241 today.
This Christmas at Super Value, we have great offers to help you share the magic, like selected goodies like McVitie's Christmas biscuits, Tato boxes and Fanta 4-pack cans, any 3 for €10, exclusive to Real Rewards members only. Plus, get money off vouchers every week on the Real Rewards app too. Share the magic this Christmas with Super Value, in store or online. T's and C's apply.
Stay warm for less this winter with Homeland. 5-pack wood logs buy 3 for €13. Hardwood log crate 450 kg, only €329. Nationwide delivery available. Shop in store or online at homeland.ie.
Highland Radio time checks with Expressway. Travel Route 32 from Letterkenny to Dublin when you book online and travel for less. Expressway, bringing you the time at...
The time is 20 past 11. Stephanie Regan, clinical psychotherapist. A very good morning to you, Stephanie.
How are you?
I am doing fantastic and really pleased to be speaking to you. And it's off the back of a survey which tells us that just over half of women report stress during the Christmas period. What are the triggers for these stresses, Stephanie?
Well, the article that I wrote, which I think you're referring to, is the, I suppose that I find perfectionism drives a lot of stress, but there are many other stresses. The one I was speaking about especially was perfectionism and how that desire to have everything controlled, to have everything super organized, super complete, leaving nothing to doubt, how it really drives stress into an already quite stressful situation, because what happens then is people find themselves focused on all the wrong things. They're focused, instead of being focused on the crack and the fun and the joy and just the niceness of doing and the act of doing, if you like, doing up the house, making the food that you don't normally do and all of those things. If you put yourself into the perfection mode, you find yourself just focusing on all the things you're doing wrong and all the things that aren't perfect and what's not done instead of what is done. So that was why I focused on that, but there's loads of other stresses.
Of course, you differentiate between perfectionism and achievement.
Yes, absolutely. Because the person, I mean, we all do strive to have nice Christmases, and we all have little pictures in our mind about how that looks. But for most people, they're able to do their best and kind of draw a line there and say, well, it's pretty good, but I'm pretty exhausted now, so I'm going to put my feet up. But so having good high standards is absolutely fine. But if you're finding yourself not enjoying it, even though you've got a lot done, you're probably in the perfectionistic situation.
And you say that sometimes this can be quite deeply rooted in your past.
Yeah, perfectionism tends to be very associated with anxiety, with and other kind of, obsessive compulsive disorders. All of that is it's attached to that. But in clinical terms, we would usually go to the root of things, because that's obviously what therapy is about, and we try and find what is it that you are soothing in yourself by keeping everything perfect, keeping everything under control, keeping things without doubt and without risk, if you like, of it going wrong. So you do everything, and then you don't have to rely on everyone. And we find that in broad terms, that tends to go back to childhood. It may be a chaotic household. It may be obviously addiction. We know how much addiction there is around us all in life. And that causes dysfunctionality. It also causes a lot of children's needs not being met. Children, as I say, parenting parents, where they're looking out for them. And these are the things that spike anxiety, not in all children, but we all have different little tendencies. Some become aggressive, some become, withdrawn, some become shy, some become no trouble. So there's a whole load of ways to defend yourself against that, but perfectionism is one of them.
Yes, and I like the suggestion you make as to how you might sort of address that. Obviously, as you say, through counselling and what have you, people can tease that stuff out, but you can begin that journey yourself really by, because it is Christmas, writing a letter to Santa yourself and reflecting. Writing stuff down, it really because you often see it when people write books, don't you? And you talk about that question, was it cathartic? And it always is, right? Because it's the first question you ask someone who's written a book. But the reason that question pops up is because it can be very helpful, because you are not forced, but you think about things that you don't necessarily think in your mind, or even that you might say to somebody.
Yeah, it draws it up. You're absolutely right. It draws it up, and it draws up memories, and it attaches one thing to the other. And it also makes you focus a little on the detail. And, it's the essence of therapy. When you say something, the emotion is attached. But equally, when you sometimes just say it out loud, you can feel yourself sort of welling up about something that you weren't even sure you were going to well up about before. And that's why we always say to people at emotional times, practice your speech, say it out loud, because whatever emotion is attached, it will pop up. When you write things down, it does the same thing. Mm-hmm. Not exactly the same, but in a very close sort of connection to that. And it's very therapeutic. So I often say to people, let's just try and find out what's going on here. And a simple way for yourself, as you say, we don't all need therapy. We're not, and I'm not plugging that in any way. But I think it's really useful if you let the child in yourself speak. Dear Santa, this is how it was for me. And you start to say those words, because I always think letters are quite emotional. I think it's the child in us all. We were all taught to write letters. So when we say, dear anybody, we feel quite close to them. And I think that by just connecting with that part of you that was happy or sad or disappointed or tense. You will hear people will often tell me the tension of Christmas comes back to them. They didn't know what was going to happen, who was going to come in the door, how was mother going to be, where was her mood, where was his mood. And these are little small people trying to navigate that. But in every man and woman today, there is a small person there. And that's just
the letter to Santa actually is very clever, because it immediately disarms you. You have to go back to that space even more so. In fact, if you were writing letters at any time of the year, maybe it might be good to write them to Santa. How do you, a partner or someone else in the house, assist someone who is a perfectionist like this? Because they can often be really quite controlling, and the only way they can achieve their perfectionism is if they do it all themselves, if they have full control out of it, if no one has their dirty, sticky fingerprints, metaphorically speaking, over it. So how do you then sort of assist them? Because the easiest thing would be to say, It's not fun. Have a bit of fun. But that's like telling someone with anxiety to pull themselves together. It's not helpful. So how do we support these people?
Yeah, that's very insightful of you, I have to say. I think that's exactly, you've put your finger just exactly on it. How do you support them? First of all, it's important to remember that if you're perfectionistic, you're also slightly excluding your partner. So it's kind of hard for them to come into you, as you say, and help you out there. So they feel cut out and a bit helpless. And I know it's easy to say, oh, well, you let her do all the work or you let him do all the work. But really, deep down, there's an unhappiness in it. So you can reach out to them. I suggest to people that before the time comes upon you in a total way and takes over all your thinking, that you might just say to yourself, allocate one task to everybody beforehand. That means that's going to be someone else's responsibility. Now, I know it's difficult. You have to sit with the discomfort a little, but this is how you help yourself. The other is that you promise yourself that you will always sit before the job is done, not after the job is done. So again, you're teaching yourself and your impulse to slow down the process. It's not you're not operating as completely unconsciously. And the other is, of course, that you acknowledge that, as I say, you get in the Santa letter, what does Christmas do to me? And acknowledge that. Say it to yourself. I'm tense because it's Christmas. But that's an old feeling. Now, this is a new Christmas with my husband, my children, or, my friends. This is a new time, and I don't have to bring it with me fully. So I'm going to try and forget that. I'm going to try and let that go into the past. Now, it's a process. I'm not saying it's a click your fingers, but these are the things that help.
Is it possible, too, that in some cases this is avoidance? That maybe it's a difficult time of year for some people, and no matter how perfect they got it, they couldn't be happy. And really, this is to avoid something else in their life that they're not dealing with. Is that possible in some cases?
Well, I think, hyper busyness can be a defense, which is, you could say it's in that. The perfectionism, I think, has a unique kind of character to it. But you will often see people who, yes, they sort of hide in business, don't you? You can see times, and it may be a good defense, being busy at Christmas and get all involved and get up to your eyes in it all. And it may be a good defense and a good help to the person against maybe loneliness or grief or whatever. So some defenses are very positive for us and they help us forward, but there are others that kind of destroy our life a little bit. And I think it's not so much choosing the right one as acknowledging which one is operating and why.
So we have to remember, for those who are in a position to be happy and what have you, because obviously people listening, for different reasons they may not be. But if everything is all right, you can't forget what Christmas is about. Either it is an opportunity maybe to relax a little bit, to form memories that you can bank memories for times to come. Mend the bridges perhaps. No one wants to sort of have any regrets if someone passes away or what have you, but ultimately to allow yourself space to be happy or even content.
Mm-hmm. I think what you're touching on there is, and of course there's so much in Christmas. I find I look at it from so many angles, and as you say, to mend bridges, there can be a very big pressure on people to mend bridges at Christmas, and that can be tricky for people. And like you, I agree. It's an opportunity just to, put a good wish to somebody that maybe you haven't been in touch with. But sometimes people stay out of touch with people for good reasons.
Oh, yes, for sure. I get that. Yep.
Yeah, and there can be a lot of pressure, to kind of drop that and get back.
Well, we could start the whole conversation about Christmas dinner around at mum's or something. Or a family party, I get you. Okay, Stephanie, listen, thank you so much for your time. It's very insightful. The top of the article's been cut off. It looks like The Independent. Is that correct, or is it The Times?
Sorry, yes, it is The Independent.
The Independent. It looks like they're bold. And it's in there today, and it goes through a few bullet points. And I think it's food for thought, because as much as writing a letter to Santa, sometimes if you actually read the words, and you can relate a little bit better than to hear them as well. So grab a copy or check it out online. But for now, Stephanie, thank you. Have a wonderful Christmas. I love your Christmas tree. It looks like it's very comfortable to hug, though you might not encourage me to do so.
On all of that. Thanks so much. And really nice to talk to you up there in Donegal. I have a super friend up there and love the place.
Lovely stuff. Thank you, Stephanie. Stephanie Regan there. Clinical psychotherapist. Again, if anything resonates with you and you want to share it with us, please get in touch. 086 60 25,000. Right, so we are running our competition. I need this tattooed on my forehead, this competition, because I've thrown away the information on it. But anyway, it's in association with our friends at Cadbury. Would you excuse me, please? And we're giving away a hamper a day, or Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, for someone who nominates someone special in their life. And the person that they nominate receives a wonderful Cadbury Secret Santa bar through the post. So it's winner, chicken dinner, right? Okay, so some of the entrants so far, these may be winners, by the way. Just because I read them out, it doesn't mean they're not still in the draw. But I just want to give you a sense of the love and affection that's out there for our fellow man and woman. I'd like to nominate my mum. She is and always will be there for me. I love her so much. That comes in from Mary. My special person is Beep. She glued my shattered pieces together with her magic glue. It's not every day you feel a real life angel. I nominate my brother for the Secret Santa. He is the best person I've ever met, and I'd be lost without him. During my dad's illness last year, my brother and I nursed him at home until he passed away. But without him being there with me through it all, this would not have been possible. And now our mum isn't well. And again, we're doing our best to care for mum at home. And without his help, I just don't think I could manage on my own. He's also a cancer survivor himself. Plus, he is a chocoholic. Hi, I'd like to nominate Mary. My son recently died by suicide, and this lady went over and beyond the call of duty, calling each and every day with gifts of flowers and chocolates. She's 1 in a million and has been my shoulder of strength when my lovely daughter died tragically. People like Mary are very rare, thank you. And can I also pass on my condolences and good wishes to you with the awful situation of the loss of 2 of your children. It must be terribly difficult, and you're clearly an incredibly strong person. So sorry, really, really sorry for everything you have gone through and continue to go through, I'm sure, especially at this time of year. Our thoughts are with you, and I'll include you in my prayers. I'd like to nominate my husband after 4 years of treatment for a very rare disease. Yesterday was his first day medication-free. I would be giving him the hamper too. Thank you indeed. Okay. I would like to nominate my husband for the bar of chocolate. He really deserves it. He's been in a wheelchair for the past 20 years. He's an inspiration to everyone he meets and brings a lot of fun to the lives of others. He is my rock. And last one for now. Greg, I'd like to nominate my granddaughter for Secret Santa. She saved up all year to buy Christmas presents for children in an orphanage in Uganda. She also is sending stuff to Ronald McDonald House and does a shoebox appeal. She says she wants to make people happy at Christmas. I'm so proud of her, as her parents are, and I think she would be worthy of a Secret Santa. And she is just 6 years old. What an amazing young girl. Thank you for that, Mary. We really do appreciate it. We're continuing to take your nominations. You know, it's actually really warm, heartwarming, heartbreaking, and all different emotions reading some of those. Absolutely beautiful relationships people have with each other out there, and some amazing people doing amazing things, and what an opportunity to be able to thank them. So you still have time to enter, and re-enter, by the way. Send them in again tomorrow or Thursday, please. Don't just leave it today. And if you entered Monday, keep entering, and we'll go through them all, okay? But it's not, we have this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, so I don't want some of those brilliant stories to be lost today. Re-enter them tomorrow. There's no problem in doing that, okay? So send your reason, the person you're nominating, your name and address to 086 60 25,000. Your prize for nominating, if you're the successful nominator, is a Cadbury hamper, and the person you nominate will receive a Cadbury Secret Santa bar as well. I would say, though, you'll all end up tucking into it all together, perhaps. Okay, let's take a break. Back with more soon.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook, and at highlandradio.com.
9 till noon show, sponsored by Evolve Clothing. Merry Christmas to all our customers, and thanks for all your support every year. In store at Letterkenny Retail Park or online at evolveclothing.com.
In our communities, we all look out for each other. If someone needs help, we lend a hand. When it comes to fire safety, we make sure our own homes are safe. But we should also look in on vulnerable or elderly neighbours to make sure they are safe too. It could save a life. Stop fire by testing smoke alarms regularly, look for obvious dangers, and have an escape route planned. Keeping our communities safe. Learn more fire safety tips at fireireland.ie. Brought to you by the Government of Ireland.
Do you need a little extra help staying in your home? At Bluebird Care, we offer a wide variety of QMark-approved personalised home care services across Donegal. And our fully trained and committed staff will always meet your care needs with kindness, compassion and dignity. To get your personal home care assessment plan, visit bluebirdcare.ie or call our care team today on 07491 29562 and bring care home.
No matter who you're shopping for this Christmas, Michael Hinney's have the perfect gift. For the man in your life, we stock premium brands including Tommy Hilfiger, Gant, Barber and Ralph Lauren, as well as trending styles from Carhartt, Superdry, Dickies and the North Face. Shop in store and online at michaelhinney's.com for an amazing range of gifts for men this Christmas at Michael Hinney's.
I'm making a move. Looking for real choice? Leave diesel behind and make the move to Toyota Hybrid Electric at Kelly's Toyota Letterkenny and Mount Charles. World-leading hybrid electric technology, lower emissions driving, with the widest choice of hybrid electric models from Ireland's best-selling car brand. With flexible payment options available, make the move today at Kelly's Toyota Letterkenny and Mount Charles. Toyota, built for a better world.
If you're doing some shopping today and fancy taking the weight off your feet or forgetting about having to cook when you get home, take a seat at Kelly's award-winning diner in Letterkenny and select from a menu that's packed with great value, family favourite choices. Relax over a coffee and sandwich, maybe a bite of lunch, something for dinner or a treat from the dessert menu. Great food and great service every day at Kelly's Diner, Mountaintop, Letterkenny.
No, really busy on the phone lines today. Thank you so very much indeed. But also I was contacted overnight by someone on social media and their message reads as follows. My daughter has been sitting in the ED since 5 p.m. yesterday. It's now 2:45 a.m. It is busy, but nobody's been seen since 6 p.m. The doctors are calling out names that have already left and went home because they were waiting so long. The doctors have been told they've went home, and yet 10 to 20 minutes later, they're calling the exact same names and won't move on to the next person. It's really a joke down here. When she went up to ask why it was taking so long, she was told she was only in 9 hours and she'd just have to wait. There's also a baby here since 12 a.m. yesterday morning who still hasn't been seen. Greg, would you ask the Gardaí to bring the E&I junction at Burnfoot to bring the... I don't know. I'll have to look at that one again, Oisín. My apologies. Although I have no loving for government ministers usually, I'm sorry to say I have to agree with Charlie McConnell's comments today. In my opinion, the 9 till noon show should be renamed the Greg Hughes' Opinion Show. OK, thank you for that. And that's perfectly fine too. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. I'm sorry if it comes across like that. I guarantee you it's not my intention, but I appreciate your comment, hence why I read it out. Why did Sinn Féin withdraw the motion of no confidence in Helen McEntee? Did they? I didn't hear that news yet. I've been in this studio. I presume because it's not going to pass if they did, in fact, withdraw it. I'm a HGV driver for 20 years. The average wage is €600 to €800 a week. It's a lot of commitment. No facilities, nowhere in Letterkenny to even get a sandwich and a cup of tea. Until this changes, nobody will want to come into the profession. We were chatting to a lady earlier on in the first hour of the programme, if you missed it, who's a very sad story of her house burning down. But at the same time, thankfully, her and her husband got out safe, and the cat as well, and a couple of treasured possessions. That poor lady, my heart goes out to her. We are not half thankful. Greg, I meet tractors all the time in the evening, and while it's great that they have great lights at the front, that would nearly blind you. There are very few lights on the back, and that's the real danger. I've spotted that myself. The road of the Donegal County Council was fixing a year ago and did cover one of them. You get water, you get water from to put the fire out. A man uncovered it, and the County Council did come out to him and told him off for uncovering it. Okay. Greg, I was travelling from Newtown-Cunningham yesterday and was approaching a school on my right-hand side, a few kilometres from Manor Roundabout. I slowed down to about 20 miles per hour. As I approached the school entrance gate, a woman with two children walked straight across the road in front of me. I had to slam on the brakes to stop and let her cross. I did not expect her to do that with such young children. This school's in a very dangerous location with no warning signs. On such main roads, Red flashing lights should be erected a kilometre from the school during school hours. A school warden should also be employed. If I hadn't reduced my speed and approach, I dread to think what might have happened. We are always warning drivers to take care. The same warning should be applied to pedestrians, and we often do have people on with warnings for pedestrians, but I take your point. Thank you very much for that. Right, okay, Donna joins me now. Donna, how are you keeping?
I'm fine, thank you.
Okay, that's good. We were speaking a little earlier on, and perhaps naively was blown away by the fact that 83% of people with a guide dog or an assistance dog are refused entry to transport, hospitals, restaurants. What's your experience been? And it might be in relation to that or access and services. I don't know. Whatever you want to talk about, Donna.
Yeah, well, Craig, I came back home to Letterkenny 21 years ago, and one of my experiences here in Letterkenny was my husband was ill, so I live at the very top of the long lane, so I walked downtown with my guide dog to get his prescription and was getting some groceries, called a taxi at the old Ruth's Chemist in the High Road, because that's where I knew where I was from when I had my sight. And I waited and waited for the taxi, and nothing came. Eventually, I'd smoked 3 cigarettes at this stage, and I rang the taxi firm back, and I apologised. I says, "Oh, Donna, sorry, we were trying to get through to you, but we couldn't." Well, I'm not very good with a mobile phone. And she says, "Sorry, the taxi." I says, "What's happening to the taxi?" And she says, and this was my regular taxi firm. Oh, she says, "The taxi man refused to come and pick you up, Donna, because of your dog."
Wow.
And I was just in total shock.
Mm.
So I was very anxious at the time because it was near time. It was around 2:30. My children were coming home on the bus for 3 o'clock, and I needed to be there to pick them up because my husband couldn't. So I said to her, "Well, can you get me another one?" She said, "Well, we're busy, Don, at the moment," but she says, "I'll phone another company for you," which she did. And luckily enough, this other company came, High Road Cabs, and I was just told the man in the taxi at the time, I says, "My God," I says, "I can't believe it. I've been in England for the last 15, 16 years, and the only time I was refused a taxi was by an Asian driver that picked me up at the hospital." I says, "I never thought this would happen in Letterkenny." And I was quite upset, to be quite honest. I was just shocked. I mean, I'm a Letterkenny girl, and I was just totally shocked. So that happened to me, and thankfully, they told me to go on the Sean the Dock hour and tell Sean the Dock, and Sean the Dock got it all sorted out. And a lot of other taxi drivers from Letterkenny did come up to my home place and apologise on behalf of the other taxi driver who never, and is a local businessman who actually never came to apologise.
Wow.
And I was totally in shock. But you walk down Letterkenny Main Street, and I mean, I was born and reared here, but I only lost my eyesight 33 years ago. And you walk down Letterkenny Main Street. The main street itself is not too bad, but you try to get out to any of the outlets, and between footpathing and traffic lights that are for visual people only, the wee green man apparently is flashing up, but there's no bleeper on some of the lights here in the town. It's a large, very large town, but it's not built for anybody with a disability, not just blind people.
And you said you said that you'd actually be reluctant to go into Letterkenny unless you were accompanied, or would you not go in at all?
I didn't get a guide dog after my last one died, because I just thought, what's the point? Because I'm down there, people are shoveling me one way or the other. If it's not that, it's the footpaths. The long lane footpaths are absolutely desperate. So unless I just decided, bugger it, and I just sit up here unless my husband takes me out, goes out shopping with me, or maybe now my daughters are older now, they were children at the time, I depend on them.
Yeah, but that's taken away. I mean, you've kind of been forced to, or left in a position to forgo your independence because of the infrastructure of Letterkenny, effectively. Like, I mean, I know you retain your independence, but, you know, in terms of going out and about.
No, you're right, Craig. Since I've moved back here, I have lost all my independence because of the situation here in Letterkenny. If it's not being a taxi driver, which that was only one incident, being refused entry to a cafe, or just the road structure and the light structure alone. Letterkenny is a very difficult place. I have myself lost my independence. I don't go out by myself anymore.
Yeah. Now, you talk. I mean, obviously, you talked about you being travelled and living elsewhere. Did you live elsewhere since you had lost your sight? And the reason I asked the question is to try and get a comparison, maybe between all the places that you've been versus Letterkenny, or had you sight when you returned home?
I moved to England in 1988. By 1989, I was having trouble with my eyesight, and although I'm a diabetic, I was diagnosed wrongly. And when the doctor realised what was wrong with me, I was bulimic. Everything was going okay until one day I went back and I was getting laser treatment twice a week. And one day I went back into the hospital, and my consultant wasn't there, so another junior doctor took over, and from that day to this day I have never seen.
Wow.
And all that paper, my consultant admitted to the mistake, but I was only 23 at the time, and didn't know the law.
What caused your sight loss, Donna?
It was actually me being bulimic. I'm also a diabetic, but it had nothing to do with the diabetes.
It was the bulimia.
I was bulimic at the time also.
And your sight almost went overnight?
I left work on a Tuesday, went into the hospital, and came home, and by Thursday my sight hadn't refocused.
Yeah.
Like when you have laser treatment, you go all fuzzy anyway. And I went back into the hospital on the Thursday, and the doctor went, "Oh my God, he gave her too much treatment." And my husband was, we weren't married at the time. We were getting married the following month. And I said to the doctor, I said, "What did you say?" And he went, "Oh, I didn't say anything." I says, "No, doctor, you spoke out loud. I may have gone blind, but I'm not deaf." And I had to fight the case. About 5 years later, I tried to take the case to court and was told I would lose my house and everything, trying to bring the NHS to court. The story goes on. When I asked for my records, wanted to go to the Russian eye clinic. It's just a long story. The hospital disadvised me, told me I'm a diabetic, I could get infections, I could get this, and they knew. I just gone totally blind overnight.
They circled the wagons. And sorry,
They
just
circled the wagon.
in terms of the laser treatment, what was that treatment for? Sorry, if it's not personal, Donna.
No, I understand. Well, as soon as you say you're a diabetic to any doctor, everyth's down to diabetes, which is wrong.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be the first time in my life that had happened. Everything's always, your diabetes is out of control, all this, and it was wrong. But I was young. They were telling me they were trying to save my eyesight. What had happened was, the night before, I was going to the pictures with my stepson, and obviously I'd just eaten, and I went upstairs, and I threw up like I usually do, because I just didn't like food being in my stomach.
Yep.
I had to eat for the diabetes, but I wanted to throw it up at the same time. I was stupid and didn't realise what I was doing, and I got this blob in my eye after I threw up, and I thought, oh God, what's wrong? It was now looking out through my eyes. You couldn't see it looking at my eyes, but looking visually looking out through my eyes, it was like a little black tampole running around my eye. So I went to my doctor the next day, explained, and he rushed me straight to Coventry and Warwick Hospital, and in there, seeing a consultant. Of course, she said, you're a diabetic. You've been a diabetic for so many years, 17 years it was at the time, and turned around and says, oh, it's down to diabetes, blah, blah, blah. So there was a new thing that came in then, that was 89, was laser treatment. And it says, we'll give you this will save your sight. So I took doctors on their word, and I was getting the laser treatment twice a week, every week. And of course then the doctor noticed one week, he says, have you been sick since I seen you last, Donna? So I explained to the doctor then that I had several years of just throwing up my food, which then he turned around and he says, you're bulimic. I didn't understand what the word meant at the time. And he explained to me. And he says, you do realise he says, we've diagnosed you wrong. It's because you're a diabetic and the soft blood vessels, your blood vessels at the back of your eye are very soft. So every time you wrench, you're busting the blood vessel. And if you look over that over a matter of time, it's like, he explained to me, like, put a piece of sheet of white paper in front of you and put a marker pen and put a black dot. For every time you do that, well, you're eventually going to cover that white sheet.
Yeah.
And you're going to go blind. So this is also to let young ones out there know, please do not go down the road sticking your fingers down your throat to try and lose weight. It's not a good idea.
You would never have thought it. You would never have thought that would be a consequence of it. And listen, I know you described yourself as stupid, but you were a young person, and you know it's an illness in of itself as well. So I know it's not my place to say, Donna, but I don't think you were stupid. I just think it's something that you had to endure as a young person. Listen, thank you for that. And for the chat, Donna. You're an inspirational person. I appreciate you speaking to us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Craig.
God bless you, and best wishes to the rest of the family as well. Back with the weather.
9 till noon show, sponsored by Evolve Clothing. 2 floors of men's winter fashions. This Christmas, it has to be Evolve, Letterkenny Retail Park, or online at evolveclothing.com. Open 7 days.
Time for magical treats made all the merrier at Lidl. Try these little bites of heaven. Deluxe luxury mini Christmas puddings, only $2.99. And made with magic from Dublin Chocolatiers, our rich Irish cream liqueur truffles, only $4.49. Wishing you a magical Christmas with Lidl.
Mr. Blue Sky, please tell us why. The Euro Millions jackpot is an estimated €220 million. Play responsibly in-store, in-app or at lottery.ie. The National Lottery. It could be you.
Make your next menswear choice at Watson Menswear Letterkenny. From suits to casual wear, there's big names to choose from like Andre, Tom Penn, Rimazumo, Superdry, Penguin and Tommy Bow. If you're going to a special occasion or big event, get fitted in style at Watson Menswear, open 7 days a week on Main Street, Letterkenny, online at watsonmenswear.com or follow on social media for details of offers and new arrivals. The Christmas Club is also now open and a small deposit will secure any item.
Is sé an túdra slándála príomháidí an cólacht rialtais atá freigrach as an tionscail slándála príomháidí a rialáil. Gach lá, cosníonn servicí slándála ceadúnathe araí agus servicí is fiú na bilún euro, agus ciantíonn siad sábháilteacht agus slándáil na géta mílta daoine agus gnólachtaí. Nuair atá tú ag ránú servicís slándála, ránig ceann atá ceadúnathe ag an túdra slándála príomháidí.
This Christmas, choose from a great selection of gift ideas at Michael Murphy Sports, including this year's hottest gift, the new Donegal GAA jersey. There's also new arrivals in official Donegal GAA leisure and training wear, and so much more. See michaelmurphysports.ie or call into Michael Murphy Sports at Station Roundabout, Letterkenny.
Whatever the weather this December, Letterkenny will bring a warm front to your shopping and great value for your pocket. Highland Weather Forecast, brought to you by Shop LK.
Dry in most areas this afternoon with some sunshine breaking through. Cold with highest temperatures of 3 to 6 degrees in mostly light breezes. Now, the winner of our Cadbury hamper today and also a Secret Santa Cadbury bar as well. Good morning. This is the winner. Good morning. I'd like to nominate my daughter. In November of a year, she saved my life after suddenly going into cardiac arrest. She dialed 999 and started CPR, which she only did as a short course in transition year in school. She saved her mum's life. And both of you are going to get those prizes. We're keeping the names quiet, so it is a surprise. Now, later on today at 12:30, it's the latest episode of Ours to Protect. We're looking at pre-loved Christmas to cut waste and hopefully costs. Aaron Murphy will give her guidance on one-off Christmas wardrobe pieces, and we also talk to a few people to get their opinion on pre-loved Christmas. There's a big thing with that now, whereby, you know, back in the day, it would be, you know, say a nice suit jacket or a dress at a ball or an event or a wedding or something. It used to be, oh yeah, this cost me 600 quid, this cost me whatever it might have been. Now, people go, oh, I bought this jacket here for, I got it for €5, or a dress, I got this for €8. It's great. That's what the sort of modern way of, not boasting, but you know what I mean, talking about clothes is. For some, not for everyone, of course. Okay, listen, thank you very much for listening to the show. Thanks to those of you who watched the programme as well. We'll be back with you tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. But for me, Greg Hughes, Caroline O, who researched and produced, and Shannon working on the show today, have a wonderful Tuesday. John Breslin's around